Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
And this is episode 186, recording live on December 27th, 2022, back in the basement. We will have a football-packed episode with the Detroit Lions. Crucial loss on Saturday to the Panthers. Major letdown, but not quite eliminated yet. So we'll discuss how they need to respond against the Bears. We'll discuss the NFL playoff picture and lay out the Detroit Lions fan rooting guide for Week 17. We made it. We made it to the college football playoff. Man, what a waste of time. We'll get into that. We will preview the Michigan TCU game along with the OSU Georgia game, just a touch to kind of talk about what we want to see more as Michigan fans here. But we'll make our picks against the spread in our Betting Hero segment. And, of course, we will drink and review a Michigan bourbon, not beer. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, let us know what you're sipping on tonight, and let us know your opinion on all of our topics as well. We'll monitor the chat, read it if they are worth reading. Sorry if they're not. It's kind of a shot at some people. We don't read all of the comments, reading, baby. But we'll try to get them out there. But before we jump in, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. The Hops Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery of State of My Sports, and BettingHero.com helps us and you get the best promotions available in the sports betting world. I am Sam Waldart. With me today, we got Micah Smith.
What's up?
We had everybody last week, and now it's just us two this week.
Full house to no house.
Yeah, exactly. Dang. I don't know how it works, but John is out sick. Ryan's busy with the family, and Kyle, I don't even know if he's still part of this thing, but he'll let us know if the Yankees are doing it. He's still making picks. That is the thing. He's still making picks, but that's about all he does. So, anyways, yeah. So it's just us two tonight, and we're not drinking beer. We are drinking bourbon.
We're switching it up.
So it's where's this from?
New Holland.
New Holland Brewing Company.
Yeah.
They're one of their bourbons. So can you tell us about? So thank you for picking this up. I'm excited about this. To be honest with you, I really am.
Beer barrel bourbon.
Beer barrel bourbon.
Yeah, if I can read their cursive here, their bourbon whiskey finished in Dragon's Milk Stout barrels.
Okay.
So obviously they take their beer and they age it in the barrel for their Dragon's Milk, right?
Okay.
For I think the majority of their flavors or styles, and then they save those barrels, and they take their bourbon and age it in those barrels.
Interesting.
So they're
just a whole lot of stuff going on there.
Double, reusing their barrels. I'm sure they use them multiple times. I can't verify that, but I would guess that.
Yeah.
This bottle is 80 proof. It's 40% alcohol by volume. Says notes of vanilla, and it's smooth finish.
So I texted a group. So I have a group of hockey guys that there's a few of them in there that are big bourbon guys. So I sent them a picture. I'm like, all right, how do I do this? Like, give me some words to say. I'm not a big bourbon guy. Like, that's just not who I am. Like, but I like it a lot. It's growing on me. But I was like, what can I say that, like, to kind of sound not dumb at the bourbon. So one thing that they told me was mention the 80 proof. So that's on there.
Yeah.
They said hints of vanilla. Now, hints of vanilla, I think, is an understatement. There's a lot of vanilla going on in that. Is it fair to say that?
Yes, I would agree.
All right. And then I asked, like, how do I drink it? And they said, drink it neat. I'm like, all right, so I'm more of a...
That's from a bourbon purist
Yeah,
standpoint.
I'm more of a, like, on the rocks guy type thing.
Mm-hmm.
The watering it down always helps me. No, there's not a whole lot of burn to it. Again,
Right.
I'm going to talk about this as, like, done with the bourbon. Not a whole lot of burn. So that's usually one thing that I like about having ice to it.
Yep.
Is it waters it down. It kind of kills the burn to it. Is that what people do it for?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot. It's actually really good neat. So I did start neat. I think I'm gonna go to on the rocks at some point. But
Yeah, absolutely. See, and I didn't start neat. I have liked having either a ball of ice or a cube of ice, or 2 or 3 smaller chunks of ice. Yeah, that's the way I prefer it. I don't think there's anything wrong. I'm sure I'll get a slap on the hand from the purists, but that's fine. I'll take the slap. Don't care. That's how I like it.
Yeah.
But, however, I wouldn't ever be mixing any of the bourbons that I drink with Coke or with root beer. That's whiskey stuff.
I don't think you do
when
that.
When you want to do bourbon, just drink it straight, either on the rocks or just drink it neat. That's where you get the most flavor, and that's how a lot of purists they smell their beer and then they're trying to pull out the beer flavors like we've done in the past. I mean, we can all taste that. They do the same thing with their bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
They've become so in tune with their bourbons. They can pull out all the subtle notes and smells and flavors and tastes. And I mean, I still haven't gotten there where it's just kind of like second nature for me.
Yeah.
But,
so would this be a good one for old fashions? Is what I wonder. Because like Ryan, we all know Ryan from the podcast, loves making things into old fashions,
Sure.
and I think his go-to is kind of Angel's Envy.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
With how sweet this already is, would an old fashioned not go well with something like that, where it's almost too sweet, or would this, how sweet it is, be good for an old fashioned because you're already gonna make it?
I think that's
sweeter,
completely subjective. To be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with trying a bunch of different bourbons and making your old fashioned or your whiskey sour.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the whiskey sour, something quite a bit higher proof, for the reason that you're adding such ingredients to it. But as for the old fashioned, I think you can do that with almost anything. You can try rye. Rye kind of have a sweeter finish to them, or a sweeter hint to them. I guess, for lack of a better term, because it's hard to explain that rye's sweet. Rye's not like sweet coming out of the field, but the way it ends up in a bourbon, it is a sweeter kind of finish to the bourbon.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it's got a lot of good flavor. I don't know if it's the vanilla that I'm not big on, or if that's kind of what's hurting it so far. I'm gonna switch to drinking it on ice, because I think that might almost, like, the cooling it down will probably help, in my opinion, as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so far so good. But somehow usually I ask how your week was and stuff like that, but we just went right into our bourbon introduction. But how was your week? Did you have a good week? Did you do anything?
Yeah.
fun?
Well, I'm home for the week from work. And,
Me too. Vacation, Sam, vacation Micah, right?
So it feels good. It feels good to have a break. Needed a break. Everything's fine. We're having a lot of fun with the kids, doing a lot of different stuff. So we took the kids bowling yesterday.
Oh, nice.
They had a good time. Then went to hockey, and then today is one of those dorky times I look forward to. Just as me, I wanted to take the kids out to Chinese buffet.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
we took the kids out to a Chinese buffet.
How did that go?
My daughter, not so well. Max,
well, she's not really a lunch eater anyways, right?
No,
or was it for lunch or for dinner?
She loves breakfast. But
Yeah.
yes, it was for lunch.
Okay.
So took them out for lunch, and she was just focused on, the girl likes chicken. That's about all she likes, is just chicken.
Yeah.
So I found all the little types of chicken, put them on her plate.
Does she like orange chicken? That is the question.
Yeah. That's what I went and found first. I'm like, okay, if you're going to like anything Chinese, it's going to be orange chicken.
Yeah.
So put that on her plate, put some other chicken options on there. Found some terrible looking mac and cheese. Put that on her just to make her happy. It looked awful. I wasn't trying it. But she did okay. She found a dumpling that she liked, and that was fine. But then Max crushed the whole thing.
Yeah, not surprised by that.
Wanted nothing else but just to keep eating.
Yeah.
So we kind of had to cut him off. We're like, hey, if you want dessert, you got to stop.
Well, that's what the buffet's for. You teaching them the opposite of what buffets are for.
Yeah,
so I don't know what's up with that. But
so I ate for like 4 people today. So that's
felt
good and bad.
But then you don't have to eat dinner, right?
Oh, we definitely ate dinner.
You still ate dinner?
2 hours later, Max is like, I'm hungry.
Really?
My wife was like, you are not serious.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we're having fun this week. How about you?
That's good. I mean, so we were kind of thinking the same. I'm off this week as well. We were hoping to kind of do some fun things like bowling and all that kind of stuff, like you're saying. But sickness went through our house the last week or so. Easton had it, and Peyton had it, and then Jordan got it on Christmas Day.
The most inopportune time.
Yeah, so it was like we were all excited to get through it, and because Easton and Peyton were feeling good enough to go to my parents for Christmas, and which is kind of the goal, is to get them healthy enough for it.
Right.
Andrea does an incredible job when they're sick. Like, she just continues to pump them with all the vitamins and everything they need to get on the mends and stuff like that. She does it for me too when I'm sick. And like, when people are sick, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go just try to do something that's pointless because I want it to be comforting and stuff, but it never is. And it's Andrea's sick, and I'm like, do you want water? Like, I don't know what to bring you. Like, she's always just putting vitamins in our mouths and stuff, and I just like,
asking her a billion questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not nearly comforting enough in those situations. But anyways, Jordan's been sick. He seems to be on the mend, so hopefully we can finish off this week pretty good, doing some fun things. They got some like gift cards to go bowling, to go sledding, like at the it's Cannonsburg, like down the tubes and stuff. So we're hoping to hit a couple of those here before the end of the week, but it all depends on Jordan because he's taken a nap too the last couple days. He never naps. But he's just needed it. So
that's when you know your kid is really sick. The kid who never naps is napping. You're like, okay, you are really sick.
Yeah, the kid's literally like, he goes into the living room, doesn't turn on a show or anything like that. He's just laying there crying. So then one of the kids like will go in there and he goes, I just want to be alone. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, then go to your room. Like, he's just so emotional. I don't know where he gets that from.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but Christmas, I mean, it could have been worse, but we weren't able to do everything we wanted to. So Andrea had to stay home when we were at my parents'. I had to stay home when she was at her mom and Bill's. So it was not the greatest of Christmases in that way, but it's also not the meaning of Christmas. So, I mean, it was nice to we got through it. The kids had fun. Build a kick. Did you see my Ford out there?
I drove up and I was impressed.
That thing is nice, isn't it?
God, that looks like out of the movie set of Frozen, you know,
dude,
with like icicles sticking up.
Yeah. That was Peyton's idea. We got icicles off the gazebo out back.
Yeah.
Listeners know about the gazebo if they watch live. We're out there every now and then in the summertime. But like, we got the icicles. We put them on the sides, and like, dude, we were out there for a couple hours today.
Nice.
That was day 3, and then Andrea tells me that it's all gonna melt. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, but it's supposed to melt over the next couple days, I guess.
Solid foundation. She won't melt, baby.
I hope not. I'm hoping that thing's legit, but
we'll see.
I mean, it's got some nice foundation around the sides. Like, the walls are thick, but there's a lot of room in there too. The kids are never as happy as I am about it. They like the idea of it, and then as soon as it's done, they're like, all right, I'm going inside. I'm like, you kidding me? So like, I thought about even like bringing a fire pit out there and sitting out there myself. Maybe just throw some beers like inside the walls to keep them cool, and then just hang out. Idea. I think I might do that eventually, probably tomorrow night. We'll see. But no, it was good. But
awesome.
I don't know. I'm excited to have the week off, even though when I'm here, it's like,
a different week
I'm
off.
really good at being a dad, like coming home after work and being like, all right, I'm all in, like having fun and stuff. I'm not the greatest of dads when it's like all day. Like, my temper just starts to flare a little bit. My patience goes down. So I'm a good like 6-hour dad, not a good 24-hour dad. But
we've all got our moments, buddy.
Yeah, but we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Hopefully Jordan starts feeling better so we can actually get out of the house and do stuff. But man, let's just move on to, what are we moving on to? The Lions?
Lions.
All right, let's do it.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. Hot, hot! This is State of My Sports.
Probably didn't do a good job whispering all of that. I was probably still talking to the mic, wasn't I? Anyways, we do have a comment here. What'd Carrie say? She said you were supposed to leave me some of that. We'll see. We'll see. Vacation Micah and Vacation Sam and one bottle of bourbon probably won't last, but
yeah, we'll see.
I got a box wine up there if we run out.
If we run out of that in the next 2 hours, we have a problem.
Yeah, that's true. You're probably staying the night. But you can sleep in my fort.
You're so
that thing is beautiful. I'm really proud of that fort.
What is that Shrek moment? Can I stay with you, please?
In the morning, I'm making waffles. Anyways, the Detroit Lions, we're getting into it. In a very crucial Christmas Eve matchup, the Lions laid an egg and got outplayed, outcoached, and were really just manhandled from the start in their 37-23 loss to the Carolina Panthers and fell to 7-8 and did not take advantage of multiple other things going right in Week 16. The Panthers ran all over the Lions, starting drive 1 with a 30-yard run on the first play, a 35-yard run on the second play, and then the Panthers ran the ball 3 additional times to finish their 5-play, 5-runs, 83-yard touchdown drive to set the tone. The Lions did respond nicely with an 8-play touchdown drive, forcing a punt, and then put together another nice drive before fumbling away a 14-play, nearly 7-minute drive inside the 10-yard line drive. It was absolutely heartbreaking.
That's a gut punch.
Yeah, this back-breaking turnover was followed by an 8-play touchdown drive for the Panthers, a 3-and-out for the Lions, a 12-play touchdown drive for the Panthers, another 3-and-out for the Lions, and then 3 more points for the Panthers to end the first half. The Lions had a great chance to take the 14-7 lead. Instead, were outscored 24-0 from the fumble to 3 minutes and 17 seconds left in the third quarter. It was absolutely heartbreaking. And it's just frustrating because, I don't want to say that was the reason why they lost because they got outplayed from really start to finish.
Right.
When you look at it and the score doesn't tell the whole story. What did I say the final score was? 37-23.
That was my
It wasn't even
very
that
first
close.
thought. Right.
It wasn't even that close. But at the same time, you look at that second drive for the Lions, great drive, and you fumble it inside the 10-yard line. That just can't happen. But you also can't let that be the back-breaking drive, the back-breaking play. And it was just absolutely a joke. I want to start a little bit on the positive side here. Goff had a pretty solid game, 25 of 42 for 355 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Bad. He was the leading rusher for the Detroit Lions. He led the Lions with 3 carries for 15 yards. Yeah, when you're behind by a lot, you're obviously going to throw the ball a lot. But that tells you everything you need about this game. What the Panthers did on their offensive side against the Lions that couldn't pound the ball, couldn't be physical, that's what the Lions do. That's what the Lions have proven over the last, really, I want to say the whole season. They did it early on even when they were losing in the 1-6 start. But over the course of when things were going good, they are physical, they are strong, they are tough.
Right.
They were none of those things on Saturday.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder when you look at Jamal Williams' numbers, 7 carries for 11 yards.
Oh my gosh.
That's alarming on behalf of him and the offensive line.
And that's 4 straight games of him not putting up good numbers while getting the majority of the touches. And I brought that up to Ryan last week and kind of asked him, are we concerned about Jamal Williams? And he said he wasn't. There's something more going on to it. The offensive line needs to be better, no question, but Jamal Williams needs to be doing better. He needs to be falling forward more. He's something's not right, and I think he's on the injury report for the first time heading into Week 17 against the Bears here. But man, just in general, this cannot happen. You can't let your identity be gone for a full game, and it was absolutely gone.
Right.
And so what the Carolina did on the offensive side of the ball, 570 total yards, 250 passing, 320 rushing yards. Absolutely unacceptable. That is embarrassing. That doesn't happen.
That's a Lions team from the first 7 games.
Yeah, that's a Lions team from like previous years. Like I don't even say that that's even this year, but that's how disappointing. Like those numbers do not happen. Period. In the NFL.
Well, it shouldn't, based on the team that this city or this state has seen the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like it's an absolute letdown. Shouldn't have happened. It did happen, but now you got a chance to respond.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I just look at this game, and it was like I was so excited. I was like, hey, like the kids have been sick. We've been stuck in the house. Finally, I want to be in the house and sit down and watch this game. And I'm just like, as soon as that fumble happened, I'm like, it's all right. It's fine. We're still fine. And all of a sudden, the wheels just completely came off. And it was really disappointing, really unacceptable in a lot of ways. Now,
sure.
Is it a same old Lions loss? I personally don't think so. What this did was it set up for a same old Lions ending to a season. And you have 2 games to respond. You already said that. Now, same old Lions will respond with losses and suck, and it'll just be we all know what it would be.
Sure. Yep.
But they have an opportunity to erase it. I already brought up the fact that two other things went right. The Seahawks lost. The Commanders lost. That was the key. And that was for the Lions to get this opportunity. This is a missed opportunity more than anything.
Correct.
To be in the playoffs.
Yep.
On Christmas morning. And be holding, like fate in your own hands, basically.
Oh, yeah,
now, you don't have that. You need more to happen. That's one thing that really sucks. But I do want to focus a little bit on this game. Deshaun Elliott, not a stud by any means. He's out. I did not realize how important he was. If he's that important to this run defense, that's a major problem because he's had a good year. He hits hard. He's physical. He's been very important to this defense as a whole. Not this much. Not this important. And that's where I'm just looking at it as this was a complete no call, no show, just something that shouldn't happen when you have everything in front of you still.
Sure.
If this happens to last year when we have no shot at the playoffs, that's okay. I get it. That happens. You look at the Panthers as a team that you have a better quarterback, you have a more physical defensive line. They have a couple really good playmakers. I get that. Yeah. But you all in all should be taking advantage. You have you should be steps above the Carolina Panthers. I still sit here and say the Detroit Lions are a better football team than the Carolina Panthers, which is stupid to say after you just get smoked. But that's how I look at this opportunity. This game. It's like you completely no-showed, and still I will go to my grave and say you are a better football team than the Carolina Panthers. I think you have proven that you're a better team outside of this game, and that's where it's just man.
Well, leading up to this game, the national narrative was, who's the hottest team in football?
The Detroit Lions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and it's unfortunate because Deshaun, what is he? Defensive tackle?
He's a safety.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he comes up and
really
makes some really good plays. No, you're good. I get it.
So, okay.
No, he's kind of like a safety that comes up and stops a run, mostly. I think he's mostly a safety. I might be the idiot on this one. But he's a big kid, big guy. Big guy, physical, that comes up and make some big-time tackles. And that was one thing that I saw a ton was missed tackles. That was the first time I've seen this many missed tackles from the Detroit Lions in the last 8 weeks. They have been sure-handed tacklers, and that's been a huge improvement from early on in the season. Is you miss tackles and people just get those extra yards, and that's exactly what this running game really for the Panthers did from start to finish. It was rough, and it's weird because none of the other numbers really stand out. First downs were 30, so that's a lot. But third down efficiency for Carolina, they were 3 and 9. That was one thing that the Lions did was when they were going for it on third down, their third down plays were 3rd and 7s and stuff like that. It was
long.
They did a good job in that way when it went well, but then just massive, huge runs. 30. What did I say? A 30-yard run, a 35-yard run to start the game.
Yep.
That was consistent in these touchdown drives for Carolina. And then you combine that with the lack of physical offensive linemen, a lack of a running game. The Lions, so this was their rushing stats. So you had DeAndre Swift, 4 carries for 12 yards, 3-yard average. Jamal Williams, 7 carries for 11 yards. Khalif Raymond, 1 for 8. I mean, the rushing was 320 yards for Carolina to 45 yards for the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff led the team, 3 carries for 15 yards rushing. That's just completely unacceptable. Real quick, another positive side, DJ Chark, another really good game, 4 catches for 108 yards. You love to see him be in that downfield threat. Just big play guy, and that's one thing that I was really confident in with that first drive is we were moving the ball so well. They were big play after big play downfield. Didn't have to pick up like crazy third downs or anything like that. It was just, it looked like it was going to be an easy day for the offense. Yeah. And then as soon as it went bad, it went terrible. And I just sat and watched this game. It was just like, it looked like both sides of the ball, everybody was sitting around watching, waiting for someone to make a play, waiting for the person next to them to make the play. Nobody was saying, get on my back, make the play outside of Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff had a good game outside of the fumble, which you can put that on the center as well. But, like, man, everybody was just like, yeah, I'm just here. And Goff was just like, what are we doing? Like, get going. And It was just really just one of the more frustrating games this year and just a missed opportunity. And it's just, I don't know. This sucks because we should be talking positively about this right now. We should be talking positively about this team because of what they're done. Look, what are they, 6-2 in the last 8 now? So I'm not going to complain about that. I don't want to like go overboard and like say same old Lions or anything like that. I'm not going to do that. But look out because this is the type of game that you let this one slip. You freaking better not do that again. You can't do that against the Bears. And then we'll see with the Packers. Time will tell. Yep. Just get through this Bears game now. But I don't lean towards same old Lions. But I understand if people do because it's just post-traumatic stress disorder at this point, right? Or is that what they call it? PTSD?
That's definitely
That's
PTSD.
Basically what Lions fans are. They're just waiting for that opportunity, waiting for the first to be like, same old Lions, here we go. This isn't.
Here's the thing, though. Like, just quick looking forward, they're coming to your house. Don't let it happen on your turf.
And that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to is seeing how these fans respond. You have your last home game. This place has been loud. Look at this as still an opportunity. And I hope that place is packed. I hope that place is loudest that it's ever been. And, like, just I want to see it so bad.
Well, with everything on the line, I sure hope your fans show up.
Yeah.
Don't just take that Carolina loss and go, that was a real stinker. Same old Lions. I think I'm going to sell my tickets.
Yeah.
Screw it. Season's over. Like, no, your season's
not still
technically
there.
over.
Yep, you're still
just
there.
Go to the game, be who you are, be part of that fan base, be a part of the electricity in that building, and help your team make it happen.
And look, so the Lions beat the Bears earlier this year.
Yep.
We all know how it happened. It was that missed extra point that the Bears had, and that was the difference. I think it was 31-30 or 32-31. I don't remember exactly, but we won by 1, and it came down to the missed extra point by the Bears.
Sure.
Now, this is a different Bears team. They're in a completely different scenario. I forget exactly what week it was, but what this Bears team is looking at is, look, they're sitting at number 2 overall pick right now. They're not going to be in the quarterback draft. They're not going to take a quarterback at this point. So what they have is an opportunity to take either the best defensive player, Will Anderson, the guy out of Georgia, the defensive lineman. Those are there.
Yep.
Or, better yet, they have an opportunity to have someone trade up to take the quarterback that they want and really gain assets. And that's what I think the Bears are sitting at. So where they're at number 2 right now. But if they win, they could jump up in this crazy tie. I think it'd be like a 4-way tie with 3 wins. So you don't want to do that. They should be in complete tank mode. But also, if Texans can find a way to win, Bears are sitting there at number 1 overall. And that's even better because someone will trade up to get the quarterback that they want.
Right.
Or You can just take the player that you want. Like, they're set up perfectly to lose. They don't want to win this game. There's nothing in the Bears that should want to win this game. Sounds like they're going to play Justin Fields. It sounds like they're going to be playing everybody because they want to continue to build and get this taste of winning, kind of like what the Lions were at last year against the Packers. It was in that Week 18. It wasn't about necessarily losing so you get the first overall pick or whatever it was. It was like, no, we need to get that taste of winning. That's kind of where the Bears are at. Now, you better show up because what the Lions did on the defensive running game, what Justin Fields will do to this team is they will absolutely destroy them. So they need to respond. I think they will. But I also have that in the back of my head, like, man, why do I think that? Because what Carolina just did was a complete butt whooping. And I don't know if you saw like the post game with when the coaches kind of met at the field. It was you effing kicked our A's. Like it was. Oh, dude, he was. Really? Dan Campbell was. It was funny because you like sit and watching it, and it looked like that he was almost mad at the coach, and it was like one of those aggressive handshakes, like you, like the Jim Harbaugh with Jim Schwartz back in the day. It looked like it could have been to that, but instead it was like, you guys what you guys did was impressive. You kicked our, you know what, it's up and down this field.
Yep. Like,
be proud of what you guys just did. So it was like, man, this team better frickin' respond. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, what is Dan Campbell? Like, is this legit, like, what he's preaching? Because what we saw in that Carolina game was the exact opposite of what we've been preached over the course of the last couple of years.
And I think the hope for Detroit is not to see a loss and not to see like an absolute stinker of a game again against an even worse team.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like you
with
just
nothing
can't,
to play for.
You just can't let it happen.
Yep, especially at home. I don't know. It's just I don't want to like overreact to this loss. All right, I'm going rocks now. It's time. I'm adding some rocks to it. I think I needed it from this line. I just need to pour some in here. Carrie, sorry, there's probably not going to be any left. If the Lions won, there'd probably be plenty left. Actually, there probably wouldn't be because I'm sure Ryan would be here if the Lions won. So,
shots fired.
Sorry, I just needed to pour some of that there. I forget where I was at. But anyways, the Lions, it was a massively missed opportunity. I'm not going same old Lions yet.
No, there's no reason to.
But it's there. It's very real right now, and how they respond is, and I think that was the biggest thing with this Carolina game. And really going back, how many times have we discussed an opportunity for the Lions to go same old Lions during these games? It was like, man, a bad turnover or a stupid penalty, and they pick up the first down. They have a holding call. They're 2nd and 20. They find a way to pick it up. They find a way to respond.
Right.
That whole Carolina game, they had no way to respond. They didn't respond. Now,
in the moment, it was same old Lions.
Yeah. This is their chance to do that respond. This is their chance to smush what we saw. Instead of it being play-by-play like we've seen during the win streak and the positive side of the Lions, this is their opportunity to squash it after the fact. It is, this game, we didn't respond. Here is our response here. You know what I mean? We need to respond with a win and kind of get back control, get back the faith. You know what I mean?
It's another opportunity for Dan Campbell to make a Dan Campbell statement with his team.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yep.
I mean, the same way that Jim Harbaugh was given a kind of sink or swim opportunity after that nasty COVID season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we just looked awful,
yeah.
and he responded. And this is that opportunity for Dan right now to resurrect after one kind of fatal, like, near end of season loss.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I mean, thankfully, like we said, the Commanders lost.
Right.
The Seahawks lost, so it's like that played perfectly, but now you just got to have that second one for them.
Correct.
And we'll get into the rooting guide here eventually, but I didn't want to get into some just NFL stuff in general.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
So I do want to get some just NFL chatter in general. If you have something that you want to bring up outside of the Packers, be more than happy. Feel free to bring it up because everything outside of the Packers you can bring up. If you want to bring up the Packers, that's you can't do that. No, but NFL. I didn't want to start with the AFC South really because that's kind of getting interesting. The Jags officially jumped over the Titans in the standings, both sitting at 7-8. The Jags play the Texans this week. Titans play the Cowboys. So I would assume Jags win, Titans lose. That's probably going to happen. If not, they finish off the season against each other. And I'm assuming the Jags are partially ahead of the Titans when they're tied because of a head-to-head. Right. So let's say they split that week 18. I don't know what happens. There's just so much that's still to be determined to kind of get into the tiebreakers and stuff.
Oh, these last 2 weeks are going to be incredible.
That division's going to be interesting to see. And honestly, I think I would rather play the Titans. Like, say it was my team against one of those teams. I would rather probably play the Titans. But at the same time, I look at both of those teams and I'm like, if I was in the AFC, worried about it, dissecting it all, I'd be nervous to play either one of those teams because you don't want to play against Derrick Henry in the cold.
Nope,
in general,
because he's a monster.
Yeah, he's the guy that'll just dominate a game when he wants to.
Yep.
But then the Jags seem to be figuring something out. It is weird. I'm not completely bought in yet because I think they're still very flawed. But they're figuring something out, and I just can't figure out what it is, if that makes sense.
I think between the two teams, I think the coaching is the difference.
Okay.
I think Doug Peterson is a better in-game coach, in-game manager than Mike Vrabel.
Okay.
I think there's mistakes that Vrabel's made in the past that he just continues to make.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it. There's a lot more talent on the Titans.
I agree.
On the field than there is Jacksonville.
It is weird. Yeah, it's weird that it's not working for the Titans. Now, I know Tannehill went down, but they also talked about pretty early on in the year that they didn't really buy into Tannehill. I don't really buy into Tannehill, but at the same time, it's like,
you sure paid him enough.
Is he
to
better
buy
than?
into
Is
him.
it Desmond Ridder? Is that who they're going with now?
I heard Ridder was bad.
So I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I heard it's not going well for him.
No.
So I don't know. It's weird that it's been this bad. But I don't know. I think the Titans are the type of team that have enough talent that, and I do like Vrabel as a coach, especially what's the thing on the shoulder when you have something on a
chip on your shoulder.
Chip on your shoulder. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
a chip on your shoulder type coach. And right now that this Titans team, they are going to be that chip on a shoulder type team moving forward.
No doubt.
And if they can sneak into the playoffs, nobody wants to play them. I'll tell you that right now. Jags are just another team that's just I don't know. There's something. They're figuring something out. I don't
Trevor
know
Lawrence
exactly
is playing a lot better.
He really is. Next one that I wanted to get into on this side of the conference, if you will, the AFC, is the Bengals. The Bengals-Bills really will be a fun Week 17 matchup. That could be a playoff preview. If the Bengals lose, which I think a lot of people will take the Bills in that matchup for the most part, but the Bengals are playing good. I get why people would go the other way. If the Bengals lose and the Ravens win, they could be playing for the division against each other in Week 18. So it's kind of like an opportunity to avoid that for the Bengals. But man, you got to beat a really freaking good football team to seal up that division here. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do it against the Ravens here in Week 18, and that'll be fun because freaking the quarterback, I can't think of his name. Lamar is he gonna play? Like they've been saying, he could be ready for Week 18. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I obviously think the Bengals are a better team than the Ravens. But the Ravens seem to surprise people. It is a really weird dynamic with that Ravens because
they're a Jekyll and Hyde team.
They really are.
Yep.
Yeah. And they've proven it game after game. Like how many massive games have they blown?
Right.
Massive leads that they've blown. And it's weird because the Ravens defense shouldn't be blowing leads. You know what I mean?
But when the Ravens are playing well, they are dominant.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, when Lamar Jackson is firing on all cylinders, I mean, like or hate the guy, I mean, he's he is good. He's super dynamic, and he's a problem on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And, when when Lamar's not there, then what?
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley?
I kind of like Huntley a little bit.
Ya?
I do. I don't want to say he's a better quarterback because that would be dumb to say. But I think I don't think he's that big of a step down from
You
Lamar.
don't think so?
No, I really don't.
What?
I think the running game obviously suffers a little bit. Not as much power, but he is elusive. And I think he throws the ball just as well, if not a little better, personally. I'm not a big Lamar Jackson guy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just my biased opinion.
Lamar's got some weird mechanics if you watch him throw.
And he makes dumb decisions, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a big Lamar guy, but that's just, I guess, my opinion. Last thing with the AFC that I want to talk about was the Chargers. They clinched a playoff spot. Obviously, a really rough start for them. They've gotten healthy. They're getting healthy at the right time here. I don't think they can get the division necessarily, but to clinch the playoff spot with 2 weeks left, where they were at early on, is pretty impressive. They're a team, nobody wants to play them. I'm telling you what, they're healthy. They're really good. But then as soon as you think they're really good and you bet on them or pick them and all that stuff, they let you down. Very weird, odd team. If they didn't make the playoffs, I think they would have moved on from their coach because this team's built to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But just, I don't know. Team to keep an eye on for sure.
Absolutely.
That AFC playoff is going to be a blast.
It's going to be a showdown, baby.
I do want to pull it up here, where it's sitting right now. We do have a comment there. Micah, can you read that a second? What was?
Yeah. Bob Karen, they said, don't forget about the World Junior Cup.
The World Junior Championships.
USA
I have
won the day.
watched none of that. And I feel bad. I don't know. Do we get NHL Network? I don't think we do. That's the only league network we don't get, I think. Is that right?
I don't think we get that. Did we ever get that with Hulu?
No, we never did.
Okay. Well, I don't feel terrible about switching.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with YT over HU.
Oh, for sure.
Don't want to mention them because they're not paying us to mention them, but we all get it. But the AFC in general, I just want to point this out here. So you got the Bills would get the first round bye where we're at. You get the Chiefs, Dolphins. Look, Dolphins obviously are falling off. I get that.
Yep.
But they're also a team that if they figure it out, we'll see what happens with Tua's health, all that stuff. That could be an interesting matchup, a game to at least pull up at halftime, see what the score is if it's worth watching. But then you got Bengals, Chargers, Jags, Ravens. Like, there are some
good matchups,
incredible matchups in that one. So, I don't know. That will be really fun. The AFC is so good.
So good.
Watch. And then you go to the NFC, and it's completely opposite. Didn't want to talk about a couple things. Eagles could wrap up their division and in the first-round bye, basically. Actually, not the first-round bye yet. But they play the Saints this week, so it should be a nice wrap-up. But then you start getting into the NFC. Sorry, I want to make sure I get this right. The NFC what? I think it's the NFC South. Sorry,
yep.
NFC South. You got the Bucs leading the division at 7-8. And then you got their one-game lead over the Panthers. And they play each other this week. So that'll be kind of fun, right?
Hey.
Like, what happens with the tiebreakers? I don't want to pretend that I understand it. But if Panthers win and Bucs lose because they play each other, they will be currently tied at 7-9 for the division lead. Crazy to think about. 2 games under 500 for the division.
Like
I wish I was in that division.
Another NFC East of like the late 20 teens.
Exactly. So that'll be fun. And then the Saints are also I think they're actually 1 game back. They're tied with the Panthers at 6-9 currently. So if they can find a way to beat the Eagles, who doesn't have Hurts, then the Saints and Bucs will play each other. Week 18, that could be worth something as well. So there's a lot on the NHL Network. Yeah, I don't get the NHL Network, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry. If you want to give me your login, no. Actually, honestly, if you go to like the NHL app, you can't even use the cable logins from your parents to watch NHL Network. So I think the NHL really struggles with that. It kind of ticks me off, but not that people are going to watch the World Juniors over
typical NHL
stupid bowl games. Have you watched any bowl games?
Absolutely.
We have
0.
We have one on in the background, but this is the first any bowl game I've watched. Like Easton kind of asks, he goes, "Hey, is there a football game on?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he'll turn it on, watch it in the other room. I'm like, you're wasting your time with that kid. Like, he's like, who do you want to win? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care who wins these games.
So Max always asks me, who do you want to win? I'm like, I don't know, you pick.
Yeah. Like, he randomly pulled up the Pistons game from last night. He's like, Dad, who do we want to win? I'm like, well, we want the Pistons, but this was yesterday. He goes, oh, well, what happened? So he's like fast-forwarding through commercials and like getting all into it. And I guess the Pistons blew like a 14-point lead with like a minute something left.
I'm not surprised. We went to OT last night.
Yeah, so they were up 14 with like a minute and a half or 2 minutes left in the game.
Get out.
Yeah. Like the coach for I think it was the Clippers, right? Yeah. I think it was Clippers, right? It doesn't matter. I don't care about the Pistons, and I tried to, and I just can't. He like pulled all of their starters and put in people, and then they just came back and won. It was absolutely just a disgrace.
That is embarrassing.
Yeah, very embarrassing. One of those games that you're like, ugh, I can't believe I just watched them lose that game. But then give me a couple months from now and be like, I'm so glad they lost that game. You know what I mean? Because when it comes to the odds and all that kind of stuff. But
well, they're not doing a whole lot of winning.
Yeah, they're zero of it. It is.
We should be sitting pretty okay.
I think as soon as football's done, like worth talking about, I'm really excited to get into the Pistons and Red Wings because there is a lot happening. And we got to talk about this.
Yeah, there's a lot of losing.
We got to talk
happening.
about that. We got to talk about the Tigers' lack of offseason. That's really frustrating. Like, there's so much to talk about outside of our teams, if you will, in football. But just not going to waste our time. Not going to make it a 3-hour episode just to fit in the Pistons and stuff like that. So,
God, the Tigers. What a sore subject.
Yeah, seriously. Anyways, there really is not a whole lot more to talk about for the NFC at this point outside of what I like to call our Detroit Lions rooting guide. Now, I understand you're not a Lions fan, so bear with me with this
totally cool, dude.
With this rooting guide. So this week, this is the rooting guide for the playoffs. So last week we needed the Lions to win, Seahawks to lose, Commanders to lose. 2 out of 3 happened, which is still keeps things alive. Obviously, the biggest letdown was the Lions. We already talked enough about that. But number 1 rooting guide for the Detroit Lions, obviously win against the Bears. You cannot lose as a 6-point home favorite. Period. End of story. This team doesn't want to win as much as you need to win, basically. They don't want to win. We want to win. You freaking better not even make this game close. You pound the ball. You dominate this football game from start to finish. Never make this a in doubt. But at the same time, just win. If it's a 1-point win, I'll take that and die happy at this point.
Oh, of course, yeah. Just win, but foot on the gas is the name of the game.
Yep, I agree completely. Number 2, rooting guide. Seahawks lose to the Jets. They're 2.5-point home underdog, which is nice. I like that look of it. The Seahawks are a weird team. They've kind of seemed to run out of gas. It's not going well for them, but the Jets have looked terrible as well. This is a really weird game. The spread is very odd to me because it seems like they're similar teams. They're both kind of just hanging on by a thread, basically, for their playoff hopes.
Sure.
But they're both still in it. So the biggest difference here is what we've seen with the Jets in the last couple weeks compared to now is Mike White is back. I don't think he should make that big of a difference in a spread, so something else is going on here. But the Seahawks as a home underdog is eye-opening, and it makes you feel possible for that to happen. So that's number 2. Number 3, you need the Commanders to lose to the Browns. They're a 2.5-point home favorite against the 6-9 Browns, who you'd think would normally be tanking at this point, but they don't have their first-round pick because of the trade.
Yep.
So here we are. You need Deshaun Watson and the Browns to start building. I think they're out of it. I haven't dug that deep into everything with the wild cards and all that stuff. I'm not worried about that. Basically, it doesn't matter. The Browns want to win this game because it doesn't matter where they pick, basically, is where we're at when it comes to the first-round pick. So it's kind of the Browns can play spoiler here, and they want to play spoiler. So the opposite side of kind of what we're seeing with the Lions and Bears, it's like Bears are looking at that pick like, we haven't had a first-round pick since we traded up for Mitch Trubisky, so like this is really nice for us to get this opportunity. We can use this as leverage to gain more and more assets and really springboard their rebuild. They want to lose. They're saying that they don't want to, but they do. The fans do, at least. So opposite side here with the Browns is they want to win. Their fans are like, hey, we don't have our pick. We want to see progress. We want to see why we traded for Deshaun Watson. We want to see how he works with their, star players or weapons, if you will.
Sure.
So I think this is a good opportunity for the Browns to pull the upset. I hope it happens. That's number 3 on my list of what we need to see happen. Number 4, kind of small here. Giants, they're unlikely to lose since they play the Colts, but if they can lose 2, that's a possible thing too. So where the Lions are at to make the playoffs is you need 2 of the 3 to continue to happen. You need the Seahawks to lose. You need the Commanders to lose. Obviously, you need to win, or the Giants continue to lose, but win. Basically, is where we're at. Hey. Those are the first 4 things. Number 5, I know you're not going to like the Packers. They went into Miami. They won to keep their playoff hopes alive at 7-8. A loss would basically eliminate them, right? I think it does,
essentially,
because they are basically chasing the Commanders, Seahawks, and the Lions, basically, where we're at. They play each other Week 18. For a Lions fan, you want to see the Packers lose to the Vikings here and just not worry as much about that Week 18 matchup, if that makes sense. I'm going to be worried about it. Trust me, I am. I think they're all going to play. They want to play spoiler. They want to play spoiler just as much as anybody. They're not playing that game of top 5 pick to top 15 pick. They're cemented of where they're going to be, basically.
Yeah.
But if they lose to the Vikings and their playoff hopes are pulled from them, that is a good thing for a Lions fan, basically. You want that to happen and them not just be playing spoiler, but playing for a playoff spot.
I think, humbly, that is probably a good thing for the majority of the NFC. You don't want to see Green Bay with Rodgers win out.
That's the biggest key.
They're gaining steam at the wrong time for other teams' sakes. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah. Now, I think it's not necessarily a Packers. Like, you're not scared of the Packers right now from everybody else. You're scared of Aaron Rodgers. That's basically the only thing on that team. Now, I like the Packers running game, and that always scares me. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. They're both very good running backs. I get that. But, like, there's something missing with the Packers that you're like, I'm deathly afraid of the Packers. The only thing you're afraid of is Aaron Rodgers to go Aaron Rodgers, which you haven't seen in a long time. It's not like, even with this winning streak, it's not like Aaron Rodgers is going Aaron Rodgers. They're just absolutely killing teams.
Correct.
So, like, that's where I look at it. It's like, so they beat the Dolphins. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of that game, but it sounds like
Green Bay has red zone
Tua
struggles.
gave away. He threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So that's basically the only way that the Packers were able to win by 6 points. Like, that plays a role in it, and I get those things. But, like,
the Packers' defense is really bad.
It is. And that's where I just look at what the Packers are doing might be more of a mirage than anything, because they beat the Bears, they beat the Rams, and they beat a struggling Dolphins. So it's not like I'm looking at the Packers and being like, wow, they figured things out towards the end. No, if they go out and beat the Vikings, they go out and beat the Lions, I'd be terrified. Trust me.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Is, if they go out and beat the Vikings with their starters from
because they're still fighting for a number 1 seed,
because they want that number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, they don't want to see Green Bay in the playoffs.
Nope.
And
they also don't want to see the Lions in the playoffs either.
Right.
They beat them twice, basically.
Right. They don't want to see teams that struggle, to really put away.
Yeah.
So
we're
going to go with that.
I agree completely. It's one that I just want to be done worrying about them. You know what I mean? You know how much I hate the Packers, so it's just like I kind of want the final dagger to be put in. And I don't want to be the one that has to be like, the Lions need to do it. You know what I mean? Lions won't do it. So it's like, who's going to put in the final dagger? It's not going to be the Lions, so hopefully the Vikings can just do it. Last one that we should cheer for Lions fans, number 6 is Rams. So they unfortunately smoked the Broncos to move to the 7th overall pick rather than, I think they were like 3rd. But still cheer for a loss. They play the Chargers this week, and then the next week's matchup against the Seahawks is to be determined on what we want to happen with that one. We might need the Rams to pull that one off, which that will be one of the most... That is same old Lions, is sitting there watching a stupid football game, Rams Seahawks, and be like, what do I want to happen? Do I want the Seahawks to lose so we can make the playoffs? Are we going to lose anyways to the Packers? So, like, it doesn't matter. Or do we want the Rams to win? Do we want the Rams to lose so we get a better pick? Like, it's something that I'm sure other fans go through, but it feels like no other fans go through this type of turmoil. I'm telling you, I'm convinced that here as Lions fans, nobody else goes through what we go through.
You just got to get into like Sean McVay and just, go, F them picks. Yeah.
F them picks, right?
Yeah.
Oh, F them picks. But anyways, that is our NFL talk for the day. That's where we're cutting it. We're cutting it off right now.
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
Finally. It's finally here. It is finally here. Why do we have 17 weeks off between the Big Ten championship and playoffs? I have no idea. For stupid bowl games that nobody effing cares about? Literally, does anybody care about these bowl games?
The Quick Lane Bowl.
Ugh.
The Pinstripe Bowl.
Cool. Yeah, we got. What do we even have on the TV? Is it like Coastal Carolina and like
Coastal Carolina and East Carolina? They play each other all the
Nobody
time.
outside of Carolina cares a mother effing thing about that game.
I don't know if people inside Carolina do.
That's a great point. Like, what is the point of these bowl games? And I think we're so close of the bowl games being done, and that will be music to my ears. Anyways, go freaking blue. We're here. Playoff time.
Ding, 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 ding.
You got the Final Four. You got TCU against Michigan. I don't know where to go. I have no idea where to start this conversation. I feel like we know so much about Michigan, so we got to dig into what we're going against with TCU. That's kind of where I wanted to go at, right? Now, We're obviously going to tie in how Michigan plays well and all that kind of stuff against this type of team. But systematically, the Horned Frogs are a diverse offense. I don't want to say diverse team. They're a diverse offense.
Correct.
They do a good job.
Max Duggan.
Look, he's attempted more passes of 20 yards. They're downfield so much. That's more than Michigan's face. And that stat actually shocked me because I would have thought Ohio State was throwing the ball 20 yards downfield a lot more than they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, that'll tell you something about C.J. Stroud. If you want him in the draft, take him because I don't want him with a 12-foot pole. He's the Grinch to me in this draft. Don't want C.J. Stroud. And if he's not throwing the ball 20 yards downfield as much as Duggan, whatever the F his name is, Duggan, I should probably learn that. Otherwise, it's pretty disrespectful. And
teach me how to Duggan.
Teach me how to Duggan. Look, it's Vacation Sam. Better on the rocks, by the way.
See?
It is, to be honest with you, the vanilla flavor early on was kind of like a turnoff to me. I feel like this kind of kicked it back a little bit. It also cools down the vanilla flavor. I sound like a bourbon guy right now.
Hey, there he is.
Big rocks guy.
The bourbon man in the flesh.
Big rocks guy. Anyways, where was I?
Throwing the rock.
TCU has a nation-leading 18 touchdowns on 20-plus yard plays. So that's a big thing. And honestly, I think that's something that's hurt Michigan a little bit. Downfield passes has hurt Michigan. It seems like I really like the corners. I like how physical Michigan's corners can get away with in a lot of ways. They get away with a lot of physicality.
They do.
But when you get 20 yards downfield, you have those 50-50-ish balls. That's a concern.
It is a concern. And you've seen it throughout the year. And if you haven't seen it, you're not watching close enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because the contested catches have become a problem for Michigan's secondary. Where
it happened in the Big Ten championship game a lot, actually.
Correct. And I believe that man was, I think, a 2-star. He was either a 2-star or a
O'Connell?
Or no, I mean they're
wide receivers.
They're a wide receiver.
I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. I'm sorry. Regardless, that could be a problem with a lanky, physical, contested catch wideout.
Yep.
Had we played Marvin Harrison against Ohio State, I don't know what would have happened.
Well, no, Marvin Harrison was in. Jackson Smith and Jigbo was out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep. So,
Excuse me.
But that's the biggest thing for me that I'm concerned about is Marvin Harrison Jr. and then the other one. Sorry, I can't think of his name right now. The other wide receiver that
Julian Fleming.
Is that who put big numbers against Michigan? I want to pull this up here a second, but that's my biggest concern with Michigan's pass defense is what NFL wide receivers did against you. The NFL wide receivers that we played, there was very few of them in the Big Ten.
Right.
I would say Jaden Reed. I don't think he didn't do anything spectacular this year. Last year he did, but then Ohio State put up some incredible numbers through the air. And we couldn't stop a couple of those wide receivers. So that's when you start looking at Quentin Johnston, sorry. Not big numbers or anything, but he's 6'4", 215 pounds. He's an NFL wide receiver. They're talking about him in the top 15 potentially in this draft, depending on how quick wide receivers start going. If he's going to be drafted, that's where I'm a little nervous. The big plays,
Yep.
Not necessarily the big 50-yard touchdown plays, but the 3rd and 13 big plays. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Where you throw up a 50-50 ball and make your NFL talent go and get it. That concerns me.
He's down there somewhere. That mentality. He's down there somewhere.
Exactly. You hate that.
Hate it.
Those are the things that scare you the most.
Right.
So I did pull up. Sorry, I don't want to pull it up. So is Egbuka.
Oh, Egbuka. Yep.
He had 9 catches for 125 yards against Michigan. And then Marvin Harrison had 7 catches for 120 yards. 2 NFL wide receivers, eventually. Not next year. They're young yet. Those are the guys that you're scared of. Those are the guys that can match Michigan's corner physicality and go get those 50-50 balls. You know what I mean?
Right. And just because Quentin Johnston's numbers aren't just OSU numbers doesn't mean he can't have a massive game against our secondary. It can very well happen, and I don't want it to happen.
Bob Karen just made a great point, and this is, I think, the difference maker in this game is Michigan pressures the quarterback very well. I don't think they will have enough time to develop the 20-yard plays. That, I think, is the key to this game, is don't let them. You have to get pressure on this quarterback because he's going to the NFL next year. Will he be a top three-round pick? Probably not. I don't think he's going to be anything crazy like that.
Right.
He's not like the talent that NFL teams are drooling over by any means. You have a wide receiver that everybody really loves, obviously. But, you give him time, he's going to make a play. And that's something that we learned about him, watching him in the Big 12, which I'm not going to get all uncomfortable in the pants about Big 12 defenses, Big 12 quarterbacks. Just in general, the Big 12, I think, is I'm going to sound like a Big 10, slappy here.
Do it.
And I don't think it's fair this year. That's the hard part, is the Big 12 cannot compete with the Big 10 from top to bottom.
Okay.
But then you also look at what the Big 10 did this year, and I'm just I think that's kind of what we're going to learn in this matchup is the best of the Big 12 really that good? Or it was a down Big 10 making Michigan look better than that? There is so much that we're going to learn from this game about the college football group as a whole. In my head, a Big 10 team should pound the F out of a Big 12 team.
Yep.
Period. End of story.
Yep. Now, Mike Morris was out against Purdue. Okay.
He's back. He's practicing.
And he's back and practicing, and I expect him to play. But it did show that he wasn't there because we didn't get a whole lot of pressure
against O'Connell.
And when we did get pressure, it was far too late.
Yeah.
Because Aiden O'Connell did a very good job of getting the ball out quickly, and his wideouts helped him a lot.
Yep. I think what Michigan does with their pass rush is they get there when it matters most. They're not always putting pressure on them, but when it matters most, they get there. And what I think Mike Morris does is he gets there no matter what. He's always there.
Yep.
in those 1st and 10s when you have the 20-yard play going downfield, he's in the quarterback's face. He's the one making the difference outside of, all right, it's a pass game. Like, you know what I mean? It could be anything, but he's there. That's, I think, a massive key. He was out against Ohio State. He's actually been out since, was it Nebraska that he got hurt? I think it might have been Nebraska.
Yep.
It was like one of those very frustrating moments that when he got hurt, because it was like, we don't need him in there, and he was in there. There was a whole lot of that conversation. But Carrie jumped in. Sorry, real quick, and then keep your thought. I don't want to interrupt you, or just this might be a changed subject, but just stick with what you got. Bob is right. Our D is solid. It might be Bob or Karen. That might have been Mom's comment. You never know, Carrie. She said, "I'm so excited for this game. So ready for that to switch." What is that? Am I reading it?
Switch to nerves.
Switch to nerves. Yes. No. That's that. Yep. No. She nailed it, because I am very confident right here on Tuesday, the 27th. Give me Saturday. I'm gonna be freaking nervous all day. Like, I might get a hotel room for Friday night and just like late checkout, 12 o'clock. What's a late checkout for a hotel? I should get to 1. All right, so I should get to 1.
Yeah.
And then I'll just be like, slowly get home around game time, because I'm going to be nervous wreck all day. I'm going to be listening to sports talk. Like, I'm sorry, Andrea, if you're listening, which you don't, which is perfectly fine. I get it. But if she's listening, I'm sorry. I'm going to be checked out from when I wake up Saturday morning till 4 o'clock, and then I'll be even more checked out until 8 o'clock.
Yep.
And then once they win, I'll be ready on board to party and have a great time. Smoke a cigar.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
I'm going to be smoking a stogie for sure. Actually, maybe not for sure. I shouldn't say that.
Oh, come on, man.
I haven't smoked one since. So Micah and Carrie, I should say. You guys got me a Thermidor. Is that what you call it? Humidor. What is a Thermidor? That's an animal or something? Vacation Sam. Let's go.
Thermidor.
Humidor.
I don't know.
I feel like I've heard that word before. Humidor for cigars. Not a big cigar guy, but I'm dabbling in it, and I love that I have this opportunity. You got me a couple, which you know I like. What was the one that I like a lot?
Acid Blonde.
So good.
Good. It's a great, easy smoking
Is that the
cigar.
thicker one or the smaller one?
Oh, well, they make them in different sizes, but I got you a smaller one and then a larger one of the Olivia 5.
Okay.
Or the
Which
Olivia
one's the
V
Victory
series.
Stogie on Saturday?
The Victory Stogie?
Yeah.
Oh, the Olivia V. Come on, man.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, for sure.
Can't wait. Do I have to cut it and stuff?
Yeah, I'll help you.
Do I have to punch it? Small punch? Or do I full
either
cut?
punch or V. Don't do a full cut.
Don't do a full cut?
No.
No, who does a full cut? Stupid idiots.
Italians.
Yeah. So stupid.
Yes.
No, I didn't mean that.
Hey.
We have a good following in Italy, so I don't want to hurt their feelings or anything.
Back to football talk though. No, Jalen Harrell has been in the backfield religiously, and then late in the third quarter, maybe early in the third quarter, in the last 6 games, Yabi Oki has been a name to be reckoned with.
Yep,
and he's coming back for another year, so another staple on the end there. And with Mike Morris back, I do have a lot more faith that we're going to have more pressure than we've had on QBs in the last 4 games without Mike Morris there. So, well pointed out, Bob.
Yeah. So I'm halfway through page 1 of the 6 pages that you provided here for this matchup. But another thing that we got to keep an eye on as Michigan fans that I think is concerning is the legs of Duggan. He's 13. Sorry. Nope, I'm in the wrong spot here. Dugan. Did we ever agree on what?
Duggan. Teach me how to Duggan. All right.
Duggan's 194 scramble yards on 26 scrambles, ranks 24th nationally, and are 31 more yards than anyone Michigan has faced this season. Maryland's Talia Tagovailoa is second with 163 yards on 22 scrambles, which I think his stats would be way higher if he started every game. He went through some injuries. He got cut, or not cut, but pulled a few times. He's more of the running quarterback. And my first worry was, oh my gosh, Maryland, they did a number on us. Like, they were running the ball. They did this. They did that. Tagovailoa, he had some crazy rushing yards against us. So I did pull up where I don't know where I wrote it down. He had 4 carries for 20 yards. Why did I think that was so much more than it was? First of all, did that come to your mind as well?
Oh, yeah.
The scrambling quarterback scares us and stuff. It really doesn't.
You know what? I've been so jaded by Don Brown's defense. It sinks down deep. It cuts so deep.
On a podcast, sorry.
No, Don Brown's defense still lingers in my mind.
Yeah, I agree with that.
As a, it's going to happen again. Here we go.
It's way different.
You know
now.
what? I gotta bury that because it ain't like that anymore. But it not like it can't happen.
Yep.
So Duggan is dangerous. He plays on a better team. He plays in a better half of
a better overall system.
As if you're looking at Maryland, the teams they play. I mean, besides obviously the 3 or 4 perpetually good teams.
Yeah.
TCU in a high-flying Big 12 conference, it does worry me more than Tagovailoa.
So it's interesting that you said that a high-flying conference, which I look at the Big 12 and say that constantly. That's my perspective of the Big 12. I look at their biggest games that TCU played in. It was Kansas State. Obviously, they played them twice. They won 34-17. A lot of scoring. They lost 31-28. But then you really look at who's the second best team in your mind for the conference. Because my mind goes right to Texas.
Yep.
I think what they did to Alabama, what they did in general, like their highs were really high, but their lows were low enough that really hurt them. I think they're the second best team in this conference, if not the best, honestly. 17-10. Now, I didn't sit and watch that a whole lot. Like, I don't remember if Quinn Ewers played. I don't remember who was in, who was out, any of that kind of stuff. But I look at a 17-10 game, 17-10 win against Texas.
Nothing impressive.
It's not impressive. It's not high scoring. It's not like you look at that and it's like, man, that their defense isn't like, oh, yeah. Like, it's not like Iowa's defense, anything like that.
Right.
You're looking at a matchup here for Michigan that I think an offense can look really good against mediocre defenses.
Mm-hmm.
But their offense can also look bad against true Power 5 talent like a Texas team. 17 points against Texas. I would say Texas is about as close as you can get defensively. I know Kansas State has a pretty good defense as well. But I would say they're about as close as the Big Ten type play as you can get, if that makes sense.
Yep.
From like talent-wise is basically where I'm going at.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, in that Texas game, TCU, they dominated time of possession, 37 minutes to 22 minutes.
Wow. Interesting.
And it only ended up 17-10.
And that's where I just look at what Michigan does is I don't think they can get dominated like that, time of possession-wise. That's one thing that Michigan, hands down, has always done all season long, the last couple of years, was dominated time of possession. They do. They do it on the ground. They pound teams. They wear teams out.
Yes, they do.
On both sides of the ball. It's crazy what they can do. And that's where I'm just like, I think the matchup is there. And this is exactly why, as Michigan fans, we looked at when we saw TCU lose to Kansas State in the championship game, where the Big 12 championship game, we were like, oh, we're gonna have to play Ohio State. We're gonna have to do this. And it's not that we're afraid of Ohio State, which I am, but not that everybody's afraid of Ohio State. It is the matchup fits what we want for Michigan fans.
So one stat I don't have, I couldn't find it, and I don't know how to even say it other than both of these teams are second-half teams. And I have heard that
you did text that to me
religiously throughout the season. And now we're here, and I couldn't find a stat. It sounds ridiculous, but couldn't find one. That is very interesting to me, that clearly, I mean, TCU was getting absolutely manhandled by Kansas State.
In that Big 12 championship game.
Right.
Should not have been an overtime game.
No, not at all. Now, take that to this weekend when you know that Michigan is a second half team. They score on the first drive typically, and then lay an egg or so for, a quarter and a half, and then really kick it into gear. And TCU does something similar, so it's going to be very interesting in that second half.
It is, yeah. That's a really good point. So let's get through some of the matchups here.
Yep.
And then we'll just kind of some stats here. So scoring offense, Michigan is 7th at 40.1 points per game. TCU just ahead of them, 6th at 40.3 points per game. Passing offense, this is a huge discrepancy here. Michigan, 93rd in the country at 210.5 yards per game against TCU's 25th at 273 yards per game. All right, that seems like a huge discrepancy here. Are you worried about Michigan's passing game with J.J. McCarthy?
No.
Me either. Me either. And that, I think, that is a huge discrepancy there from 95th to 25th. 93rd to 25th.
As far
but
as
I'm
a ranking.
Not worried about that at all.
As far as a ranking, but then you look at the actual yards per game, there's not that large of a gap, Sam.
That's a good point.
You're
210 to 273. It doesn't sound like a lot. It kind of is a lot. But we have a comment here. No, not worried about it. JJ. That's exactly where I'm at. I think J.J. McCarthy, he just got, 6 years older in the last month, probably, with how long we've been sitting here waiting for the college football playoff. I think he can probably drink now. He probably has facial hair now. He aged so much since we saw him last.
Oh, yeah.
You never know what he's gonna do. No,
his first chest hair.
J.J. McCarthy is he is so good. For the people that aren't Michigan fans, I get that you're going to hear Michigan fans be like, oh, J.J. McCarthy, blah, 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 this. He is everything that this team has needed in a long time. I love what Cade McNamara did last year, leading us to the Big Ten Championship, all of that kind of stuff. There's such a big difference. The stats aren't different. There is a massive difference
Leadership.
In this quarterback compared to the other one. There's
Leadership,
something different.
Athleticism.
There's something different. 100%.
I don't know how much this carries into the locker room, onto the field, but I can only imagine it's quite a bit. But I think there is a major character difference. Now, I don't know these gentlemen personally. Do you? I mean, I'd love to.
No, Ryan did. He saw him play cornhole, so he knows him very well.
No, I think the way JJ carries himself, he has this swag, confidence, humbleness. I don't even know how to describe it.
It really is. No, you're exactly right.
And he wraps all of that up with athleticism.
Look, this is going to sound very Michigan, just
Slappy.
Going hard on him. He is exactly what I would want out of Caleb Williams. So much athleticism.
Yeah.
So much confidence. But what Caleb Williams doesn't have, and I thought about this the other day. And I'm going to compare him to the Heisman Trophy winner, if you're okay with that.
That's fine. He'll be in the Heisman race next year. So
I truly believe that. J.J. McCarthy draws a smiley face on his hand.
Did you read this today?
I have no idea why. No, I have no idea why he does it.
Oh, my gosh.
Tell me why real quick. Go for it. And then I'm going to finish my thought.
I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
All right. He draws a smiley face on his hand. And he is a leader from start to finish. You see that as a Michigan fan. You should see it from another fan's perspective. He draws that. What does Caleb Williams draw in his hand? It's not in his hand. It's on his fingernails.
It was
he draws F-U-C-K, the other team, every time. that is a very talented player that wins the Heisman, blah, blah, blah. You get it. He's probably going to be a highly drafted player, and I get all of those things. But that's not a leader. And I think that's one thing that we saw with USC is when things went bad, what did he do? His limp got worse. Oh, I'm hurt. I'm hurt more. Oh, I'm hurt. He might very well be hurt. I'm not going to buy into that. What do you see with J.J. McCarthy is a true leader. He leads this team. He, from the bad, from the good, all of those things, he puts it all together, and he is very steady. He is very confident.
Yep.
He is very humble. All of these things, usually that you see in hockey players, which he is, he's a hockey player as a quarterback. Love that.
Love it.
Love it. And so going back to the passing game, I'm not worried about 95th or 93rd or whatever it is versus 25th overall. I'm not worried about that. I still think we have the better passing game. I do.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Whether the rankings say it or not, that's where I'm at. But what were you going to say for the smiley face?
Yeah.
Did you find it?
Yeah, it's a quick story, okay? So he says, my sophomore year in high school, my first loss as a starting QB, game was not so good. I had a couple of picks. Things weren't going my way. After the game, I was signing autographs, and this little girl came up to me.
Wait, was this as a sophomore? Is that what he said? Sophomore?
Yeah,
signing autographs?
In high school.
What a stud.
Right?
Love this guy.
So after the game, I was signing
hockey game?
autographs, and this little girl came up to me, and she was drilling me with questions. Why were you so mad out there? You looked too upset out there. Why weren't you having fun? He said, I was like, I don't know. I didn't have a good game. She said, you need to smile more, and she drew a smiley face on my hand. And
with the marker that he was
Yep.
signing? Oh, my gosh.
And he said it was such a profound moment, just how simple it was. Maybe a 7-year-old girl telling me that. I wrote it on my hand for the rest of the games, kind of took that message to heart, and we went undefeated from there. Subtle way to promote positivity in this world. And he's been doing it ever since.
I've never had a bigger crush on a human being.
All right.
Outside of my wife, obviously, than J.J. McCarthy. I love J.J. McCarthy. I love that kid. And
Positivity,
Andrea
baby.
talks about it. She goes, man, he's cute. And he's just got a big smile on his face all the time. She goes, he's having fun.
Yeah.
It is cool to see when you have people making comments that have no idea anything about sports saying there's something different about him.
Yeah. Yep.
Love it. I love it. I hope he goes to the Lions and has a great, great career. I'm just going to say that right now. All right. Rushing offense, Michigan, 6th, 243 yards per game to TCU, 200. Pretty even matchup there. Total offense, 27th Michigan, 453, 16th, 473 for the TCU. Sacks allowed, Michigan 16th, 13 total sacks allowed. TCU 54th, has allowed 23. Turnovers lost, Michigan. This could be a huge game, or a huge part of the game is turnovers, like every other football game in this world. Turnovers lost, Michigan is 3rd, 7 lost only to TCU's 7th at 10 lost. So not crazy difference there. I don't know, red zone offense. Michigan 5th, 93.7% to TCU's 80th, 81.38. That could be a huge difference. Not only scoring, but touchdowns. Creating touchdowns is huge.
You skipped over a stat I didn't want to read, didn't want to admit to you.
3rd down?
Yep. 3rd down conversion. Michigan at 16th with TCU right there at 52nd. I know TCU is rating 52nd. I get it. That's still concerning for me with Duggan at quarterback. I don't care how people look at that ranking of 52nd. I just don't like that they're sitting there with someone with legs, someone with an arm. They've got an NFL wideout on the outside. It makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie.
It does. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not extremely confident. I'm just kind of I should be confident because of all of these reasons.
Yep.
Because of, but we watch these games with maize and blue glasses. I get those things. They're probably sitting there. We can do this. We got this. We got that. I get it. It happens. But I think the really nuts and bolts of this is we're going to learn about the conferences. How good or how top-heavy is the Big Ten, I think, is what we're going to learn. Is Ohio State really good?
Right.
Is Michigan really good? Or were they just really good and really bad Big Ten? Same with the Big 12. Here you are. Is Texas Christian University just another Cincinnati? just another Boise State?
That's
Teams
a great
that are
question.
like really good, but then when they play really good football teams, a combination of really highly talented football teams and really well-coached football teams, is that when they're going to get exposed? That's what I think we want to see. And that's what I think we hope we're going to see with Michigan is we're looking at the Alabama-Cincinnati matchup last year. That's what we got with this 2-3 matchup, Michigan-TCU. Michigan better prove that. That's the biggest thing. Is like, I want to say like all of these reasons why I should be nervous and all of that. I'm not. I'm very confident. I am. And that also scares the crap out of me because, like, why? Why? Because I think the Big Ten is that much better than Big 12. That's basically the only reason, right? Because you look at the stats, we just named a bunch of them. It's a pretty even matchup.
Yeah.
But you're looking at competition. Michigan, I believe, has played better overall competition in the Big Ten, I'm hoping, than the Big 12.
Right.
Than they did with Texas, than they did with Kansas State twice. And to be honest, you look at the game before the Michigan-Texas Christian University game. Is Alabama, Kansas State. What are we going to learn with that? How good is Kansas State?
Yep.
We will know heading into this game, all right, are we really, really nervous? Or are we just like, this is exactly why. This is exactly why I thought the Big 12 wasn't any good. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, by the time that game goes, we're just going to be like, we already know what it's got. Or we're going to be like, oh, my mother effing goodness, this is not going to end well. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to have our hands in our face of nervousness, or we're going to be 6 bush lights deep. Just be like, oh, yeah. Let's go.
So,
when's New Year's Eve? When, midnight? All right. I'll see you then. You know what I mean? Like, this is... I feel like we're going to learn a lot in that game before the Michigan.
I think
TCU.
As we start, quickly approaching Saturday, and once we get to Saturday, I think the nerves of the unknown that we haven't faced a Big 12 team is going to start getting to me. Like right now, I
comparing
feel
the conferences, I'm a little nervous about that. I am.
Like I kind of look at it on paper, like okay, we're going to go through all these numbers. We're probably going to come out at the end kind of thinking the same thing, like Michigan's got the edge, we can win. And by the time Saturday comes, it's like, does TCU really have – are they gonna pull one on us,
I'll tell you something right now. Tuesday, vacation Sam, way more confident than Saturday – Sam will be. Sure. I am super confident. But when that game starts, when that game is going to start, like when we're getting ready for that, around like 8 o'clock in the morning, like RBVs, maybe some mimosas. I don't know what we're going to do yet. We'll talk that off air. Like, when all of this starts happening, I'm like, I'm going to get those nerves. And by 4 o'clock, which feels like an early game, which is nice, when you got the earlier time slot compared to the play, it's going to take so long to get to 4 o'clock.
Yep. I
am going to just be pacing. I'm going to have 6,000 steps by noon because I'm just
just in the garage. Or your fort.
Yeah, my fort. I'll be in my fort just sitting there like, I'm going to listen to sports talk, like, preview this, preview that. I don't know. It's just going to be interesting. The comment here, we forced some turnovers in the red zone with Ohio State. Let's do it again. Red zone is going to be super important because, look, we give Trav a really hard time. I love giving Trav a hard time with his red zone. We need to get touchdowns, not field goals. He's been saying that for ages. I get all of those things. You just can't come up empty. You cannot come up empty. And I believe Moody will allow us to not come up empty, even outside, really just inside the 50 at that point. I think our special teams could be a huge point. With this kicking a 50-yard field goal, making it rather than TCU missing a 40-yard field goal. You know what I mean? Like that, I think, is on the table and could be a huge momentum swinger. But I don't know. Like, were there any other stats that stood out to you that you wanted to jump on here real quick?
Yeah. So TCU is 10-2 when allowing less than 5 yards per rush since 2021. Okay, so can they do it? That is the question. But I then look over on the other side, back to our team. I look at those big men up front and go, this is where...
Well, whether they won it or not, did they win the offensive line trophy again this year? So the back-to-back years they won it, right?
Yes,
they beat
they did.
Georgia out for that.
Yeah.
So it was that versus them in Georgia, right? Nobody in the Big Ten has this type of offensive line.
Nope.
And outside of Bijan Robinson, nobody has a running back like Donovan Edwards in the Big 12.
Nope.
That's where this team is going to win this game. Period. End of story. They are going to mother F them, punch them in the mouth, time and time again. I know that's arrogant Big Ten take. I get all of that. That's why we didn't invite Jarrett on here tonight, now that he's in town, because we didn't want to have that SEC Big Ten argument, even though we're having the Big 12 Big Ten argument. Whether the Big 12 is overall deeper than the Big Ten or not, the high-end side of the Big Ten is better, way better than the Big 12. Period, end of story. In the trenches is how these football games are won. We saw it on the opposite side of Michigan last year when we played Georgia. They won that game in the trenches. They dominated that game in the trenches, which made them allow that game downfield and just big play after big play. Michigan will have that. They will do it either through the air or through the ground game. They will have that. Period, end of story. That's why I'm not nervous.
So you kind of played into my next piece there.
Do it. Run with it.
Michigan is undefeated at 22-0 when averaging more than 5 yards on first down plays since 2021.
This team is designed to get 5 yards a carry. They are.
Oh, I know.
The offensive line. Like, I'm not even talking about Donovan Edwards at this point, or the running game, or the running backs, or Corum being out. I'm talking about this offensive line.
Yep.
And one thing that this offensive line does, and I don't know the name of the coach, the offensive line coach, but they scheme so well. So well. You saw that in the Michigan-Ohio State game last year. Not so much this year necessarily because you didn't have to scheme your way through it. Last year's scheme, it wasn't the big plays like Donovan Edwards got this year. It was we're going to get 8 yards. Sorry, first and 10, we're going to get 8 yards on this run. And then we're going to get another 6. And then we're going to get another 8. And then we're going to get 1. And then we're going to get 9. Like, that's how they did. They schemed their way to easily get these rushing yards. That's what Michigan does better than really anybody that I've seen this year. Even better than Georgia. Yeah, they might have a very good offensive line. I'm not going to get into that. We'll get into that probably we're previewing that game. Zing! That's what this team does. Is they are physical.
Physical
they
and
punch you in the
disciplined.
mouth, and they are very schematically. Did I say that right? Schematically, Vacation Sam. Very good offensively. Really, just in the trenches on both sides.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know if I hijacked your conversation with the.
No, you didn't.
Did I improve? Like, we did a good job? Like, just mixing?
Dude, it's all about the team. You know that.
Love it. Was there any more into this game that you wanted to talk about, or do you just want to give our predictions?
Ooh.
Kind of throwing you for a loop here.
Yeah, you are.
You were not ready for this.
So,
what is your prediction for Michigan TCU?
My prediction is this game is going to be like a majority of the games that has happened this year for Michigan offensively. They're going to make a halftime adjustment. The defense is it's a blueprint of what we've done all year. It is not anything different. Now, X's and O's, I couldn't tell you. You know, you say it often, I'm not an X's and O's guy. Same here. I just know that we do make adjustments on both sides of the ball. And the defense, I mean, it's like boa constrictor coming out in the second half. I mean, the defense is suffocating every single game. I expect that this year. This game, offensively, I expect them to start running away with this game. End of the third quarter, late into the fourth, and foot on the gas, and show the country that we are not messing around. Score-wise, I think we were talking about it earlier this week. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with a 35-17.
35-17.
Originally I was going to say 35-28, but I don't think it'll be that close.
This matchup reminds me a lot. I'm not going to say Maryland. I know that's the easy way to compare it. This game reminds me a lot of Purdue, the Big Ten championship game. It really does.
Sure.
Team-wise, it might not match up perfectly, and I get that. But what I think Michigan's going to do is we will know from the get-go Michigan is the better team. We will. It'll be obvious. I think they will dominate both sides of the ball, trenches-wise. There might be a couple big plays that TCU has that kind of like changes the stats. Yep. But I look at this Purdue game, and I want to compare some of the stats here. It looked really bad at times, but they only had 90 rushing yards. They did have 366 passing yards. A lot of it was in garbage time. A lot of it was actually early on, too. Like, it was just big play after big play. And I think they're going to have a couple of those that hurts Michigan's confidence, if you will. It's like, oh, is this game closer than we're going to think? No, we're going to dominate this game from start to finish, but the stats might look even. Time of possession might look even. There are times in this game that'll be like, whoa, they're only within a score, if you will, or we're down, if you will, but it will never be questionable who's going to win this game. I think Michigan's going to win this game 45-20. I think Michigan's going to pour on towards the end. I think they're not afraid to do that. We all know that style points do matter to Harbaugh. He wants people to know, yeah, we dominated this game, but we didn't win by 10. We dominated this game and won by 20. We won this game by 25. All of that kind of stuff matters.
Jim's going for jugular at this point.
He wants, whether it's a national title this year or not, he wants people to know that Michigan has arrived. Because I think there's still that doubt. There was still that doubt heading into the Michigan-Ohio State game who the better team was. Ohio State, there were times heading into that matchup that they were like a 14-point favorite. Then it kind of slowly dwindled down, and I think it ended up around 7.5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Jim doesn't want any of that BS anymore. He wants people to know we are the better team. We will prove that we're the better team.
Yep.
I think he's ready to just pile on in this type of game.
I could not agree with you more because this.
What was the score that I said? Sorry, I want to write it down.
You said
45-20.
Oh, you said 20. Sorry. This epiphany I just had is, okay, Jim got close to winning a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Jim has been
close to winning a national title.
Jim has been close to a national title. Jim has been completely embarrassed by Big Ten media, by the way his team performed in 2020. I think this man he's been humbled. He's incredibly hungry to prove that him and his staff and his team can win a title. Not a Big Ten title anymore.
Just be there. Not just be part of the conversation.
Right.
Do it.
Go do it. He wants to win the meaningful game.
The game.
We have now been to and past the Big Ten title game. That is step one. Now he's got a second opportunity after getting embarrassed by an all-decade team in Georgia last year. This man is hungry. Hey, I didn't win a Super Bowl. I was close. We got embarrassed by Georgia last year in the semis. Now, let's go beat TCU, pound them into the ground, and he wants Kirby more than ever right now.
Yep.
And wants to prove to the world that Jim, can win.
Love it. Dude, that's just a perfect transition. We're moving on.
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
I said we're moving on. We're really not moving on.
Gotcha.
We're talking college football. And what we're talking about is the OSU Georgia game. Look, nobody that listens to this podcast gives a flying F about the X's and O's of this game.
Nope.
What do we care about? We care about who could we potentially play. That's where I want to focus on with this college football discussion. I want to start with the OSU Georgia game. I want to end it with kind of talking about some of the other bowl games that are somewhat interesting. We already talked a little bit about what a joke bowl games are, but I kind of want to finish that conversation there. So, the OSU Georgia game, I want to get what do you expect to see, and then what do you want to see, if that makes sense. So, based on what we know of OSU, what we know of Georgia, what do you expect to see heading into this game? Because I think that there's a lot of people that could see multiple things happening, but I want to know what we're feeling here in the state of Michigan based on two teams that we really hate. Probably our two most hated teams right now because of what happened against Georgia last year.
Yep.
And then obviously OSU is OSU still. So what do you think is going to see between these two most hated teams right now in the state of Michigan?
Okay, let me just put it to you bluntly here. I think OSU's star-studded secondary is not good.
Yeah.
And I think Stetson Bennett is probably going to tear him apart.
Pick them apart, right?
Honestly.
I think one thing that Georgia does well is they, and this is going to sound, this might be a little overstatement here.
Okay.
But they Bill Belichick teams better than a lot of other teams. And I think that's one thing that Alabama has done very well is they Bill Belichick teams by, yeah, you're really good at this, but we're going to take that away and make you play a completely other game. And I think what we're going to see with Georgia is it's not necessarily downfield. It's going to be that Washington kid, that tight end. Is that his name, Washington? Stud tight end that people were talking about as a
from Georgia.
From Georgia, I think he's just going to ball.
Brock Bowers.
Is that his name? Is Washington the Notre Dame guy? Sorry, yeah, Brock Bowers. You're right. I get those two confused. Two top tight ends in the draft, in my opinion. Bowers and Washington.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers is going to have a heyday against this team. That's where I think is really going to be the difference is every single 3rd and 6, they're going to make it look so easy against OSU. That's my opinion of what I think is going to happen. But then I also look at what Ohio State has done. I think what they did against Michigan is eye-opening. I already talked about the wide receivers that had incredible games. C.J. Stroud. I look at what Ohio State has gone through in the last 17 weeks or whatever it is since the Michigan-Ohio State game.
Yep.
If Ryan Day is worth a damn as a college football coach, he's going to have this team show up and play their best football. And now, that's where I wonder, Ohio State's best football can beat Georgia's good football. Because Ohio State's best football could probably beat anybody in this country, in my opinion. When they're playing their best football, they are freaking unbelievable. We've seen it. But when they're not playing their best football, let's just say that they go from A football to B football, which we haven't seen yet this year. That's what I'm wondering. What is their B football? Because I think we've seen A football, we've seen C football. When they were playing their A football against Michigan, they looked like the better team, hands down. It looked like we were about to get destroyed in that game. They dropped all the way down to C football, and whether it was what Michigan did or what Ohio State did, I get all, like, we don't need to get into that. That's what I want to know is, can they play B football and keep them in that game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm looking up stats here on NCAA, okay? Right now, total offense, Ohio State and Georgia sit 7 and 8. Very similar production. I mean, would the national media tell you that? Because, I mean, C.J. Stroud is second coming of Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to go with a hard pass on that. And Tennessee actually owns that right there. Now, looking at total defense, though, Michigan sits at 3rd, and then you have Georgia at 8 and Ohio State at 11. So, I mean...
And that's where I think we're going to learn a lot about the conferences.
Yep.
Because everybody talks about how good the SEC is. And I think... Look, I've said over the past couple of years, or what are we, almost year 3 of this podcast, 186 episodes in, I've talked about how I think the Big Ten has been deeper. And the high-end talent of the SEC has been clearly better, winning national titles, and I get that. But I think that has switched this year, in my opinion, I think the SEC is deeper, where I'm not sure that their high-end is as good as the Big Ten's high-end. And I think that's what we're going to learn in this matchup. I hate going conference to conference because I think it's kind of a silly argument and stuff. But what I think we're going to learn is talent-wise the best Big Ten talent-wise team as good as the best talent-wise Georgia or like SEC team. I think we're going to learn a lot here. I think Kirby Smart is a proven coach. I think Ryan Day is a wannabe proven coach. He hasn't proven it yet. There's a lot to be answered in this matchup, and I'm going to sit back with my stogie and just laugh at what we're watching, whether it's Ohio State dominating or winning, and I'm be like, oh, Big Ten, baby. So much better than SEC. Come on. Or I'm be like, Ohio State has really lost something, and we can move on from Ryan Day, right? Like, he's not the second coming, right? Like, this isn't a big deal. The handoff did not go well from Urban to Ryan Day. I'm going to be assuming Michigan takes care of business. Vacation Sam has nothing on what New Year's Eve Sam is going to be that night. I'm telling you what. I'm going to be sitting back just being like, oh, not worrying.
You and I are going to be on another level Saturday if things go as planned.
I'm going to have 2 mimosas, 3 RBVs, and I'm just going to go to like Busch Light or something the rest of the way. Like, I'm just going to have to go light beer. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be feeling it. Whether I'm going to be angry or just, this is awesome.
That's a good plan.
When is the
You're
national
be drinking
title?
The same thing.
When is it? I'm not even going to ask when. I'm assuming it's a Monday, right? Because college football's stupid.
I looked it up one time and I don't remember. So, yeah.
Anyways, getting back to the Georgia OSU game. What do you want to happen?
I want Georgia.
You want Georgia?
I want Georgia, but it's not because I'm scared to play Ohio State again. I wouldn't mind. Like, the way I look at it, I'm a realistic guy when it comes to kind of like the sports of like what I want to have happen. Like, hey, like say my team wins or loses, I'm sitting in the moment going, well, what's done is done. Like, my team better get their head in the game for the next game. I don't care who it is, but what I want Georgia, and I want to beat Georgia so damn bad.
I look at it in 2 different ways of what I want to happen. And it has nothing to do with this week. Nothing to do with this week. If Michigan's going to lose in the national championship, that's where I'm going at. I'm moving on, honestly. And I know I'm nervous to do it. I'm moving on to the national championship. Okay. And I look at this as 2 things. Who am I okay to lose to? I'm okay to lose to Georgia. And this might be a pessimistic side, and I get that. This might be a nervous Nancy, is that what they call it? Nervous Nancy type Sam here. If we're going to lose, it freaking better be to Georgia. If we are going to win, first of all, I don't care who it's against. Second of all, if you could guarantee me a national championship win, what is it, a week from Monday?
Probably.
To do that to Ohio State would give me a permanent, you know what. Like, that would be
this table will
absolute. This table will be not even usable. It'll be so imbalanced of what's happening. If you could guarantee me a national championship win, sign me up for Ohio State and make that happen. But
okay,
if we are going to lose this game in the national championship, I'll be okay to be like, all right, we lost to Georgia again. They're going through this dynasty type moment. I'm okay with that. But if we lose to a freaking Ohio State in the national championship after we just wipe the floor of them in Columbus, that's where I'm going to be bitter. That's where you're going to get bitter, Sam. You know what I mean? Like, I will be absolutely bitter to lose to that team in that moment. Yeah, I did that.
I will be rowing the boat with you in
I
bitterness,
will,
like
and that's
hatred.
where I'm just like, I don't want the bitterness. So,
I agree.
I will be ecstatic if we beat Georgia in the national championship. I will be ecstatic if we beat Ohio State in the national championship. I'll be a little higher, a little excited. But if we lose to Ohio State in this time, in this moment, I'm not sure I can survive that. I'm not sure I can cope with that. So, in a nutshell, I want Georgia to win because I want that 50-50, I'll feel good.
Yeah.
Not good. I don't want to say good.
Well,
I will feel satisfied either way, if that makes sense. If we lose to Georgia, it is what it is. If we lose to Ohio State, I will be a mess. But if you can guarantee me a win, sign me up. We're playing Ohio State. We're kicking their you-know-whats again, and we can just you-know-what on their grave. That would make me the ultimate Sam. So, ranking-wise, number 1, I want to beat Ohio State in the national championship and just have a freaking blast. Number 2, beat Georgia in the national championship. And it would be an amazing feeling as well. Probably make those 1-2, just winning that. But like, you know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. It makes sense to me, but I'm all here just sitting here as vacation Sam. That I don't know if it makes sense.
I know what you're saying.
If you could guarantee me a national championship victory, put me against Ohio State, even though my heart might not survive leading up to it. My heart's not going to survive either way. Let's just move on.
Listen,
but if we're gonna lose a national championship, sign me up for Georgia. I want to lose to Georgia. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry. I know it's not fair to people, but that's where I'm at. So, in a nutshell, I want to play Georgia in the national championship. I don't want to play Ohio State.
Okay, how do I keep this PG? Okay.
You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm
to. I'm sorry.
You don't have to.
Listen, we were talking about, like, pitching a tent, doing all this funny stuff with, beating Ohio State in the national championship.
Gosh, man, that feels so good.
Like, if we go to the national championship with Georgia and beat them, like, it wouldn't be like a pitch in the tent, like this table's all goofed up and stuff. I would be like the old guy in the locker room walking around with like the largest hammer, just completely butt naked with all the confidence in the world, and no one has as much confidence as I do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, we just, like, the
thought of it makes you like a little bit, right?
Okay, well, the Georgia wasn't the Georgia last year. You're right. And it doesn't matter. We're the national champions, and we just beat, apparently, the best team in the land. And I am the old, ugly man in the locker room with the biggest hammer, and I am the damn man.
Yeah.
Wearing a Michigan shirt.
Gosh. I just win.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, just win. Just win Saturday, and then we can discuss it, because I don't know what I want. I honestly don't know what I want. Obviously, I want a national title. That's number 1. That's
where my hopes lie. That's it.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. We laid out our scenarios. That's where we're at. Just win. I'll see you on Saturday, buddy.
What's your prediction? What's your prediction for Ohio State, Georgia? That's the game of the day, honestly. That is, I cannot wait to just sit back with my stogie and just watch those guys battle out to play Michigan. But what's your prediction for it?
28-10.
For Georgia?
Yep.
That's actually a perfect prediction, but I'm going to add a couple more points to it.
Okay.
For both teams. 32-17. Never in doubt. Never in doubt for Georgia.
I like it.
And then we'll see you next week. Ready to preview the national title. Michigan.
I'm going to be on
Georgia.
I don't even know what.
Georgia.
It's not even Cloud 9. I don't know what you'd call it.
Just the fact that they will be there or should be there or hopefully will be there.
Yep.
Is absolutely insane. What we went through in 2020, there were a lot of haters. Trev, friend of the show, was anti-Harbaugh. Like, he was like, Don, I'm not sure. How many anti-Harbaugh fans were there? It felt 50-50. It might not have been 50-50. Mm-hmm. It felt 50-50 as a Michigan fan. I was big Harbaugh supporter. I thought he had it. I thought he had the vision. And I said that. I don't remember where you were at, to be honest with you.
We may have been the worst team.
It felt awful. It felt really awful.
Record-wise, probably not. The way we were playing, how we had zero identity, nothing to go off of.
I love that word when it comes to football. Identity. I love that. At least I should say that in football and hockey. Identity.
Yep.
Maybe basketball kind of falls into that. They have an identity.
Ha. Yeah, they do.
And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what it is other than trenches. They dominate the trenches.
Yep.
Like, I'm not sure if they're an offensive team. I'm not sure if they're a defensive team. Because they're a freaking great team.
In my lifetime, obviously, in my adult years, you have a much better understanding as players as opposed to coaching and identity, culture, all this stuff. But in my lifetime, I have never, ever been happier with coaching. The things that I hear come out of coaches' mouths, the way they carry themselves in post-game conferences, in the things they say about the team, the players, the culture. I mean, prove me wrong.
Yeah, I love the culture. I love what people are saying, and I hope it's real. That's the biggest thing, is I hope it's real. I hope
it's real.
I still have that in the back of my head of, is Harbaugh really in it for the long haul? Or is he going to explore this and that? And, like, that still makes me nervous. We'll get into that another day. We don't need to get into that today. But that still is in the back of my head because of what he did last year.
Unfortunately.
And that really bothers me of what the identity is of this program. I love what this program is. It freaking better continue. That's where I'm at. And now I know Harbaugh has said, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm staying here at Michigan. I'm not going to explore this. I'm not going to explore that. He said that before. And that's where I'm just like, freaking better happen. Why is he the second best odds to land the Broncos job? That drives me nuts.
Nope.
That shouldn't happen. So,
sorry.
Maybe we can get into this. Do you want to get into it now?
We are going to get into it right freaking now.
Look at the color difference when you add ice to it. It is insane.
It's crazy.
It's so much better with ice. I'm sorry, guys. You were wrong. Not that you listen. Nobody listens. Hey, any of my hockey guys, if you guys are listening, text me right now and I'll bring you Coors Light because I know that's what you guys like. I'll get you whatever you want. Just tell me.
So
they're not listening. That's why I know that I can do this. If you guys listen, let me know, and I'll buy you something.
So I'm not sure exactly where the odds come from for Jim Harbaugh to the Broncos. Okay,
they're just looking to make money. They're looking for people to put money on it and switch it. But go on.
The Jim Harbaugh makes sense for the Broncos and Russell Wilson article from Sports Illustrated comes from who? It comes from Albert Breer, who is a Buckeye to the core and absolutely despises everything Michigan. And there was a post that one of the Michigan authors made about the timeline of Albert Breer and the things he has posted thus far, and then finishes off, he dots his I with that article right there. This guy's an absolute dope. So, in my opinion, that is where these odds come from with Jim, and it just proves that like some of the Ohio State faithful and these alumni aren't even hiding it anymore. This whole like, you know, these crazy theories that we have of, you know, like Ohio State alumni and other people pushing that Jim wants to leave for the NFL is only to help them further their, you know, like this cult that seems to be like Buckeye football. Okay. And that's where I keep going back to. I keep seeing these articles, and it's absolutely insane to me. But the thing I care about the most is what Jim's staff says about him and the team. And earlier today, Sharon Morris said, most coaches at some point in their life want to do that, as in become a head coach. When the time comes, the time comes. But I'm in no rush to leave this place, this great university, these students, and Coach Harbaugh.
Love that.
Right now, I have all the confidence in the world that they are going to get a deal done with Jim, and he is not leaving anytime soon.
I agree. I want to agree. I really do. And I do agree. But the nerves are still there. They are. And the nerves of people talking about it are still there. Like, I hate when people talk about it. I think he's in it. I think he's in it for the long haul. I really do. But I also think that there is the questions, the wonder of him winning a Super Bowl. And I think that is the ultimate goal as a head coach. And I get that. I do. I really do. But when you bring up what the assistant coaches are saying, that's a completely different mindset. Yep. It is.
Yeah.
If the assistant coaches are bought in long term and not just looking at it to go to the next level, that's when I'm bought in that Harbaugh's staying, Harbaugh's doing this, Harbaugh's doing that. He's in it for the long haul.
Exactly.
Now, I thought that last year. I thought winning the Big Ten, being in the playoff was like enough for him. It didn't seem like enough. That's where I want to know. Are we enough for you? Is Michigan enough for you? Because it wasn't last year. Why is it now? What's the difference? That's what I want to know. Because when push comes to shove, head coaches in college football are about as sleazy as car salesmen.
Yep. They are car salesmen.
They are. And is Harbaugh that to his assistant coaches, coordinators, all of that? Maybe. Because he was last year. And then as soon as he wasn't, what happened? Both coordinators went off in the distance and went and did their own thing.
Yep.
They didn't say those things that Sharon Morris said. That's a difference.
That's what's the difference.
I should probably change this thing to a Michigan banner. Because we're talking Michigan.
I hate the NCAA.
I hate it. Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that in the offseason when I get a chance. I mean, that's an hour episode as it is. Where are we at? We're over 2 hours at this point, talking two things. So, or really, 3, 4, if you will. But, I mean,
you're welcome, Michigan. I know
we'll see.
Spartan faithfuls.
Let's focus on the game moving forward. We're moving on to our picks. If you're good with that, you good to move on to the picks?
Let's do it, baby.
All right, we're moving on to the picks, and then we'll just figure everything else out from there.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
Is my mic on?
Yeah, your mic is still on.
Vacation Sam.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I honestly can't get over the difference of the color in general. There's a lot of water in there, but there's still some ice.
You do understand we have done some damage.
We've done some damage, and I'm glad I don't have to drive home. BettingHero.com. Promo code MIBETS. You can figure it out. Nobody else. Just DM me if you are actually interested. If not, F you. Picks! Moving on to the picks of the week. Last week. Micah,
roll, please.
4-3. Ryan, 4-3.
Dang you, Ryan.
You guys are tied 65 and 53 overall. Solid years. You guys are winning
69. Can we do it?
I went 2-5. John went 3-5. John has passed me. He is 63 and 55 overall. Another positive. Just take our picks. You will win money. That's where I'm looking at it. Sam, that is me. Vacation Sam, that is me as well. 60 and 58 overall. Kyle, 3-4. He's 58 and 60 overall. Look, we're basically all almost 500. That's pretty solid. You don't get that in most podcasts.
No, that's good stuff right there.
I just need a little taste of that bourbon there. Moving on. I did skip what we were talking about with the bowl games, but nobody else cares about bowl games, so we're not going to pretend to care about bowl games.
Nope.
Moving on to Thursday night football. Cowboys at the Titans. Titans plus 10. I don't have Kyle's picks on here. I thought I put those on.
Come on, man.
You did text them to me. Anyways, Ryan, Cowboys. John, Titans.
Oh.
I'm going to pull up Kyle's text
Woof.
while you make your pick. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cowboys. The Titans, you said they're missing Tannehill, right?
They are.
Yeah, that's not going to be any good.
Kyle took the Titans. Sorry.
I don't think Vrabel, I don't think he's going to be able to come up with enough to beat the Cowboys, to be honest with you. I think they're just too much of a better team. They have too many weapons for the Titans to stop. That's where I'm at.
So you're taking the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
I am taking the Titans 10-point underdog at home. That's guaranteed money, guys. I'm sorry. It is. You do not pass up on 10 points at home. You don't. Period. End of story. Moving on. Browns at Commanders. Commanders minus 2.5. Ryan's taking the Commanders. John is taking the Browns. Kyle's taking the Commanders, and I'm restarting the music while Micah makes his pick.
Commanders are going to be on their A game, my man. They are going to take this game handily.
You think the Commanders are going to win?
Yep.
That really sucks, man. Are you serious?
Sorry. Yeah.
Really? No. I'm going Hopium this week.
I was going to say, there's that Kool-Aid.
I'm going Hopium.
That copper
Wait,
Kool-Aid.
you said Commanders.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Browns. Browns are going to win outright. Lions are going to win outright. We're going to move on to the next game here soon. But Lions will be in playoff position at this point next week. And we'll also be talking about a Michigan playoff victory, along with a national championship.
Let's go.
Preview. Next game. Jets at Seattle. Seattle plus 2.5. Ryan is taking the Jets. John is taking the Seahawks. Kyle taking the mother effing Seahawks. Micah, you can do this again and take the anti-rooting guide for the Lions fans.
Come on,
It seems
man.
like that's what you're doing.
No.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm very offended by this. Go for it.
Give me Mikey White.
Let's
and
go,
the
Mike
Jets.
White. Mike White.
Whitey Bulger.
Mike White. I just put Mike White. I didn't even put the Jets. I just put Mike White for your pick. And I'm going to put Mike White.
Hold on. Jets, Jets.
I hate that guy, for the record. The guy that does that. Fireman Ed.
Oh, that's his name?
Not a big fan.
Oh, I didn't even
He's
know
a
that was
loser.
a guy.
He is a loser. Honestly, I'm going to say it right now.
You know who's a loser? Paul Allen for the Vikings.
You know who's a loser? Are the people that dress up or, like, paint their faces.
Adults that are clowns.
Adults that, like, do those things for
Yeah.
NFL football teams.
100%.
Just sit back at your own effing house and enjoy the game. Nobody freaking cares that you're at this game.
Or just wear a jersey and a hat. That's all you got to do.
Exactly.
Zero face paint, zero decal.
Pay the least amount of money that you need to get into the stadium, and then just sit and watch the game. If you care that bad to be there, why do you need to be a face? We'll get into that some other time. Most hated people in sports.
Oh.
Fireman.
What do they call him? Bucknut or whatever?
Oh, yeah. He's up there for me. I am taking Mike White and... Nope. Wrong button.
That's my pick.
The Jets. Mike White Jets, baby. I hope you're good. And I am so glad we didn't have to play you as a Lions fan because it probably would have been bad. I mean, let's be honest. If what's his effing nuts, Zach Wilson could throw 350 yards. If I think Zach Wilson threw over 300 yards against the Lions. Mike White probably would have 600, 700. I don't know. Like, I'm just so glad we didn't have to play him.
Zach Wilson as a backup?
What? I would love Zach Wilson.
They're going to stop him.
I mean,
it's the rumor.
He'd be number one on my list of free agents to sign to be the backup for Jared Goff because I think that's a great way to go. It would make me really...
There you go.
Really, you know what? This might be the longest episode that of two-person duos I've ever done, and I love it.
You're welcome.
Moving on, Bears at the Lions. Lions -6. It's a lot of effing points for the Lions to score. You got Ryan taking the Lions. You got John taking the Lions. You got Kyle taking the Lions. Michael, what are you going to do?
I'm going to join your rooting guide. I mean, come on, man. The Bears are so freaking bad.
But 6 points?
Yeah.
This will be my chance. Taking the Bears +6.
You're disgusting.
Lions are winning by 5.5. No, they're going to win by they're going to win by 3. Lions are going to win by 3. Everything's going to be good. This time, next week, everything is going to be good. This is going to be the most positive podcast anybody's ever listened to for Detroit sports. I'm telling you that right now. Because we're not talking Red Wings. We're not talking Pistons. We're talking Michigan. We're talking Lions winning. And maybe we'll bring up Michigan State. I don't know. Maybe not. Because if that makes people horny, I don't know. That's the right word?
The faithful are already horny about their 2024 class.
They don't know anything.
No. Give me the Lions.
That was our last NFL pick. Should I let this thing... No, I'm not. I'm going to switch it. It's going to be an awful switch. You guys ready for this?
Do it. You are not serious.
I did.
This guy.
I did that on
This
purpose.
vacation
For the
saying.
record, vacation saying. We actually have some legitimate college football picks to make. This is the first time in 17 weeks. Because college football sucks and has a 17-week break.
You know, typical.
Stupid, by the way. Figure that out.
Well, that you know it's that time of year when you see NFL games on Saturdays and you're like, wait a second, wait, what's happening? And you're getting all these reports on your phone like, what? Oh,
wait,
yeah,
this guy
it's
transferred?
December. That's right.
Yeah.
Got it.
We need to have a full episode about how college football really sucks and needs to fix their you-know-what.
Bye-bye, NCAA.
Because college football sucks. It really, really sucks, by the way. I hate college football outside of Michigan. Outside of that, I don't like watching bowl games. I don't like betting on these games.
Well, you know what?
I don't enjoy any of it. I really don't.
You know, for Coastal Carolina,
Hey,
East
Wisconsin's
Carolina,
up. Great. Makes me really hard.
Well,
no, it doesn't. I have no
Connecticut,
idea playing.
congrats on making it to a bowl game. It's a big accomplishment.
Connecticut, UConn, one of the worst teams that we ever played, right? That's what people said early on in the season. And then here they are in the bowl game with Michigan State sits at home.
Anyways.
College football picks. This might be the second to last college football picks. No, it is the second to last college football picks we make because we're going to make college football picks for the national championship.
Now we can start watching college football.
Yes. Vacation Sam strikes again. He is the best. I agree with that. Where are we at? Rose Bowl. Penn State versus Utah. Utah minus.
Hey, hold
2.
on. Diarrhea Dan and the Poo Poo Gang. Hey,
what
I appreciate
in the
you.
Mother effing
Great
F?
show, guys. I
Are
really
we
enjoyed the
going-
topics you discussed here tonight. Appreciate you, man.
Is that
Absolutely
really what he
love
said?
it. Yeah,
Hey,
love it. Thank you.
Diarrhea Dan, as much as I'm questioning what you are, love the comment. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I love Diarrhea Dan.
Diarrhea Dan is my favorite Dan out of all Dans. Thank you, Dan.
And the
Diarrhea
Poo Poo
Dan
Gang.
And the Poo Poo Gang. Is that a Dan? All right, I don't want to even get into this because I don't want to go all the way back to Lions discussion with the Diarrhea Dan stuff. Subscribe, like, share. I don't know. I'm new to this, even though I'm 186 episodes in.
Rose Bowl, baby.
Rose Bowl, baby! You got the Penn State Nittany Lions versus Utah minus 2. Ryan, Penn State. John, Utah. Kyle, Penn State. Micah, what do you do in this type of matchup?
You go with Utah? Are you kidding me? Get out of here, Penn State. Bye-bye, James.
Look.
This is where James starts
You know how to
losing
subscribe to the
recruits, man.
channel, Diarrhea Dan. Sorry, I had to answer this question. There's a button, I think. I don't know. I'm new as well. I'm not good with the YouTube. I'm not good with the Facebook. Any of those things. There's got to be a subscribe button, right?
There is a subscribe button, for
Thank
sure.
you, Diarrhea
Yep.
Dan.
Every Tuesday, Dan. Appreciate you, man.
It's gotta be
Yeah, you go Utah Utes here.
Really? Okay. All right. I went Penn State mainly because I hope that the Big Ten is actually fairly good. No.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that Penn State is just not good.
The hard part with picking these games is knowing who's playing, who's not, and if Utah plays all of their starters, I would assume that they're way better than Penn State.
Yeah.
But Clifford, what is he, 30? He's got to be at least 30 years old at this point.
Yeah.
You gotta. The veteran quarterback usually wins these type of games because they care about it and stuff. Unless they're going to the pros, all of those type of things. So I'm going Penn State. It's probably not right, but that's kind of where I'm at.
No, that's fair.
Thank you, appreciate it. Sugar Bowl,
Sugar Bowl.
Alabama versus Kansas State. Kansas State plus 6.5. John, Alabama. Ryan, Alabama. Kyle, Alabama. What are you going to do?
I wondered if King Kyle was going to go with Kansas State.
What are you going to do?
Listen, after the Nick Saban Big Ten halftime show, I don't know what in the H that was during the Ohio State-Michigan game. I think Nick Saban, I know he's out of it, and his team could very well be out of it mentally. Nick Saban, after being on air like that during the biggest televised game, he is not going to lose this game. Are you kidding me?
It matters to him.
It matters to him big time.
So you're taking Alabama?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on.
I am taking Alabama as well. Now, I am going to watch none of this game unless this is a close game. Now, I'm taking Alabama. Trust me, I am. But I hope that this game is really darn close. And I hope that Alabama loses this game. because I think this could be the dagger in what Saban has built. Because Georgia builds it better. Texas A&M, I know they had a rough year. It'll work eventually.
Well, they lost half their team in the transfer portal. No big deal.
They'll probably just reload and do it again. And it'll work eventually.
If you could see me right now.
Look.
Here, you can have some money. Here, you can have some money.
Is that what you're doing?
You can have some money.
I thought you were doing
some money.
Do that under the table and see what it looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look good. I'm going to take Alabama because I think they have something to prove, but I hope so much that this is the dagger in Nick Saban and he's freaking pissed about the world and loses again and just shows the sign of Alabama on the downside of their, you know what, their dynasty. So
yeah,
we'll see. I'm gonna take Bama. I am. Moving on. We got the playoff. We gotta move quick. We're I cannot believe we've gone over 2 hours. We're almost 2.5.
Let's keep this thing going.
We're getting close. You want to restart?
Wings
Let's talk
next,
Lions.
baby.
Yeah, Wings. Pistons lost by a lot. Let's go move on. All right, Peach Bowl, OSU versus Georgia. Georgia minus 6.5. Ryan, Georgia. John, Georgia. Micah.
Georgia.
I don't know about you, but Kyle is taking OSU.
Dude, Georgia smash and dash. I'm sorry. It's gone. It's done. I have zero faith in Ohio State after watching Michigan play them. Please tell me how it's going to be different.
If this game is close, Michigan will win the national championship against Georgia or Ohio State. If this game is close.
I mean, could there be a key crucial injury to Georgia? Michigan goes on to the national championship, and then all yada yada yada. And
I'm taking OSU to cover. I am. I think this is going to be a good football game. I really do. That's just why it's going to be the 8 o'clock game. I think it's going to be a good football game. I really do. I'm going to get into your comment in just a second. Let's finish our picks. Fiesta Bowl, TCU versus Michigan. Michigan minus 7.5. Ryan, Michigan. John, TCU, Michigan by 4. Michigan wins.
Excuse me?
By
what?
4. Kyle, Michigan as well. What are you doing, Micah?
Michigan. Go blue.
I'm going Michigan. I think Michigan dominates this mother effing football game, and it's going to be a blast. And we got a comment. We have to talk about by Diarrhea Dan and the what is it?
Poo Poo Gang.
Poo Poo Gang.
What do you guys think about the Tigers' offseason so far? Do you see them signing any free agents?
I think Poo Poo Gang makes it a great statement of what we're doing for the Tigers, honestly.
So, yeah. So something you and I have discussed for some time, Ryan included, John included, the Illiches have a lot of money.
I cannot wait to get into the Tiger stuff. I really can't. No, sorry. Finish your thing. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe I went off the rails a bit because I just imagine having millions and billions of dollars. But when you have nothing to worry about besides a luxury tax, and you bought into Erod, you bought into Javi, and that's all you have to show for the last season. I was talking with the guys here on the podcast, and I said, you know what? Kind of like the Sean McVay, like, F those picks. I'm going with, like, the F the money. Let's make a run here. I'm going with, dude, let's go get Aaron Judge. What's up?
No, you keep going.
Okay.
You're doing a great job.
I wanted to go get Aaron Judge. I wanted Carlos Correa, and now things are going really sideways and weird. I mean, prior to the whole physical, his physicality concerns, and then looking at Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer now being on the Mets, I'm like, hey, I wanted to bring JV home. I have, like, from my younger age, I have always loved pitching. I have always loved Justin Verlander. He's always been consistent and dominant for a long time. He's kind of like the Tom Brady of pitching in the MLB.
I think I think the Tigers are the most disappointing thing I've seen in a very, 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 very long time. Because, and Diarrhea Dan, thanks for commenting. We really do appreciate it. We're going to get into this very in depth once football season's done, because it is very disappointing what we're seeing. Because what we're seeing in the MLB in general, and you see what I did? I even audibled and put up the Tigers thing here.
Hey.
What the Tigers have done is absolutely embarrassing. Because they have done absolutely nothing.
It's piss poor.
Because you're seeing so much spending elsewhere. You're seeing teams try, and you're seeing the Tigers do absolutely nothing. They're doing the bare minimum to get you excited. And look, if we were coming off of a rebuilding season and we actually saw some hope, I'd be like, all right, yeah, just bring in Matt Boyd that can kind of hold the phone while all these guys are injured.
Yep.
And recovering and all that stuff. It's just not enough this year. It's period end of story not. Now, if you're in complete tank mode and you show me that you're willing to spend money again next year, I get what we're going through this year. I get it. It makes sense to me. It really does. What you're doing makes sense. But at the same time, the MLB is not built that way. The MLB is built to spend money. The MLB is built to go ahead and be aggressive.
You know what ownership's doing?
They're taking advantage of their fans is what they're doing. In my opinion. That's my opinion. Yeah. They're taking advantage of the fact that you have these injuries and you're not in winning mode, even though you were, according to last year, like to take a step.
Yeah.
That's I cannot wait. I honestly cannot wait to dig into our feelings about the Tigers, and I can't wait to have your opinion. I can't wait to have Ryan's opinion. We're at 2 hours and 30 minutes almost.
Dude, let me say this. That is what absolutely bothers me to the core, is that we went out. I don't care that Al Avila went and did, made those 2 deals for Erod and Javi. We have now spent that money.
That doesn't mean you don't spend money.
Whoever is making decisions right now, you have to start building on this. You don't just let it ride and let Miggy go into the sunset doing a Coach K farewell tour. We're cute. We're going to sell, another 5,000 tickets on average.
I don't give him other F
going throughout this next season because of Miggy. I love Miggy. I love everything he did.
I don't care about ticket sales.
I know you don't. I don't either, but the Illiches care about ticket sales.
I know.
It's money.
I cannot wait to truly dig into this because I'm freaking pissed of what we're seeing. I am furious. But I don't think there's enough time.
No,
to really dig into this right now. Thank you. I hate saying your name, Diarrhea Dan, and the Poo Poo Gang. I hope that's not a shot at the Lions because
this man got me freaking ramped up.
I know, I really did not expect to get into the Lions or the Tigers today. I wish we had another hour. I wish we could just drag in Ryan and really discuss what we're seeing with the Detroit Tigers because I cannot wait to do it because the Tigers are honestly one of my. I love all of my teams other than the Pistons. Really, outside of yeah, you guys don't need to know that about me, but
you know what Dan heard? It was like, oh, we're at the 2 hour mark. We're at the 15 hour mark. He's like, hey, watch what's gonna happen.
Oh
now.
Gosh, dude, he's smart. Smart man. If he's worried about length of podcast, he does not give a flying F about what he just said. But moving on to
drinking craft beer, having
or
fun,
bourbon,
and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
How you feeling, buddy?
Baby!
You gonna sleep good?
Oh, no, I ain't sleeping tonight. Are you sleeping tonight?
Yep, at some point.
Goodness gracious. We are drinking what?
Beer barrel bourbon from New Holland.
That connects the beer side of the podcast. Beer barrel bourbon.
This is their bourbon whiskey finished in Dragon's Milk Stout barrels. It's notes of vanilla and dark malts, and it's a smooth finish. It's 80 proof, 40% alcohol by volume. And this
so good.
This bourbon, let me tell you. Today I went to Smitty's Specialty Beverage in Easttown, picked up this bottle. The staff helped me out. I asked about some Michigan bourbons, and they gave me a few recommendations, and the gentleman mentioned this one, and I went with it. It was very like hometown favorite, and I must say, it tastes amazing. I think I paid $35 for it. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to Smitty's. They're located in the heart of Easttown at 1489 Lake Drive Southeast. Smitty's Specialty Beverage offers a wide array of spirits, from flagship vodkas and rums to the rare and hard-to-find bourbons and scotches. They also have an extensive beer collection sure to satisfy your needs. Smitty's is all about product selection in all lines, and Joel Smitter and his staff are very helpful and passionate about what they do, and if you don't see it, they will get it for you. Staff was incredible today. Went in there. It took me 5 minutes with the family waiting in the car. Walked out. I was very pleased with my purchase. I would be back there in a heartbeat.
Should I have to pay you for this, or are you going to take it home? So I don't know.
How about you save it for Saturday?
A little bit of both. No. Solid. I didn't do the right button, I don't think. Oh, there we go. We're all on the screen. What did Diarrhea Dan say? Real quick.
Said, watch out for Diarrhea Dan and the Poo Poo Gang relaunching in 2023 with an all-new Poo Poo Gang featuring Stanley Farts.
I have no clue what's going on. Does that mean like a podcast, or is that like a YouTube channel? Diarrhea Dan.
We might be getting joshed. I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever. I'll take
Dan, I would love to meet, buddy.
You think his name is Dan?
Let's make it up close.
Because, like, all right, so as a Lions fan, like, my brain went right to Diarrhea Dan and the Dan Campbell.
That's up your alley, not mine.
Yeah, I don't know. We're almost 3 hours in at this point. This might be the longest episode ever. No, but solid bourbon.
I'm going to give it, we have to grade it. This is what we do. I'm going to give it an 8.3. Whoa.
I can't even.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I am at a level, man. I'll tell you.
You've been getting louder.
Yeah, louder and happier. Like, we started with the Lions, and it was like really negative, and it's like really high. No, this is solid. I really do like it. Look, honestly, the vanilla might be a little too strong for me. I'm going to throw that out there. It's good. Obviously. I mean, let's be honest. What's going to happen? Like, I like it. Do bourbon fans like it? I don't know. I don't give a flying F. Should I give a little bit to like some of the guys? No.
If you don't save some for Carrie, I'm going to be in trouble, and you're going to be in lesser trouble.
I'm going to go with the 7s. 7-9.
Okay.
Solid.
Right.
Really,
Cool.
really good bourbon. The vanilla might be a little strong. I'm just saying it. Love you. What do I do now? Oh, wrong button. I'm at a level. I'll tell you that. I'm at a level, and that's not good. Because I got to deal with the kids tomorrow. I'd rather be at the office, just hungover, but I'll be hungover at home. Is what it is. Are we at the right even thing? Like, I don't even know where we're at.
We're good.
All right. I gotta figure this out. Outro. That was episode 186. I remembered that. Thank you for watching. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for commenting. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
You've been listening to State of My Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions, to the Tigers to the Pistons, to Michigan and Michigan State, and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.